Happy Thanksgiving, gentlemen.
Happy Thanksgiving.
It's actually the 26th, the day before Thanksgiving, but by the time I release this, hopefully I get it released tomorrow, it will be Thanksgiving.
I'm ready for some gobble gobble.
I can. She's in there.
Take that however you want, but I'm ready for some.
She's in there cooking something right now. I tell you what.
I saw her with a mixing bowl, like
just really the smell of sautéing onions is like. I love the smell so much, and she uses that as a base for a lot of things.
Well, I made up some dressing that I'm taking to a friend's house tomorrow.
All right.
And, where are you going to for? Are you going to the International Terrorist House or something?
Yeah.
Do you wear a turban?
What?
Sorry.
Man.
I shouldn't say that. I apologize. Lord, I apologize.
Wow.
I'm going
to have to get a censor button.
Yeah, that was Travis. Too far. Hang on. Should we restart this whole thing? Should we just restart it? Because there were some good guys at the Hunter guys that do wear those, and they're not, they're really nice guys.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. I was playing in the stereotype, and I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Please forgive me, gentlemen. I'm not even sure their names.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Travis is might be on waivers. You're definitely not getting paid.
Are you gonna send a complaint to the free labor board or what? Like, what are you gonna do?
You're gonna file a complaint anyway. Right?
You're gonna get with HR and cut my pay or something?
You can't get me on the child labor law.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, speaking of child labor, just real quick, I told my daughter I would share this. My awesome daughter, I don't know if anybody can see that, made me a bracelet.
Oh, wow.
And I was supposed to show made of the highest quality rubber band this side of Target.
Can you stop here? Because I actually said some things about her while we were going on.
No, you didn't. I wasn't recording at all.
Oh, that wasn't recorded?
No.
Okay.
You're good.
No, we're good.
Stop at all. Well, except for my stupid mouth, but here we go.
Yeah.
Or here we are.
We're going to run right over that. So we're here on Thanksgiving.
We are.
And, for me, this podcast is about uniting with people, me and Travis and Doc.
I just caused a divide. I really still feel bad about that. I'm sorry, guys.
We'll get right through it.
Let's just keep going. Yep,
we're going to get past the divide and through the divide. Before we get into any, I want to kind of start off with local stuff again. And I know Dr. Roy brought some stuff from his medical research and some clips and things that he's been looking into. We have some Centerpoint stuff going on again, and I've got some communications from some local businesses who are really struggling. So we're going to continue to try to put pressure and spotlight on the fact that Centerpoint is basically a tyrannical power company, and they're robbing us blind. We have an affordability crisis, which is going to come up in some of our clips if we can get to them. Before we get any further, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Roy. I know you brought something on GLP1s and some other things that he wants to dig into. So I don't think I don't have any clips for anything. So it's just going to be.
No, there's really no clips on these. I dug out a whole lot of stuff from PubMed, but some of it I couldn't get the full thing. I just have an abstract. But the first thing I want to talk about is interstitial cystitis. And
please don't make me say that.
Yeah, interstitial cystitis. That's we don't know what causes it, but it's most common in females, and it's not an invasion of a bacteria or anything else. There's bleeding, very severe pain, and it's not very common. It's somewhere between 8 and 60 per 100,000 females. Okay. So it's not there. But if you have a friend or someone else that has interstitial cystitis, it's terrible. But there are some new agents that have been installed in the treatment of interstitial cystitis. We used to give them several different kinds of oral pharmaceuticals, and none of them were really that good. But one of the ones that has actually been approved by the FDA to use is DMSO.
Dimethyl
sulfoxide.
I think I almost have that one.
Yeah, almost.
So I'm going to stop here just real quick. When you say bleeding, like bleeding from a certain orifice or?
Bleeding from the bladder.
So they'll see blood in the urine.
Blood in. I mean, like real blood.
Okay.
I've had a number of patients, and I had the unfortunate thing of walking in there after she had gone to the bathroom, and there were blood spots all over.
Is it a younger thing, an older thing, or all over the place?
All over the place. I've seen teenagers with it. I've seen women in their 70s with it.
And you said no known cause.
Yeah, no known cause, and it's not it's not an infection. It's just a problem. Interstitial means that the part of the bladder between the mucosa and the muscles are upset. And the folks that have used DMSO and some of the other drugs that they're coming up with have gotten really good things. And it's that, to my knowledge, that's the only thing that is, the FDA has said is okay to use DMSO for. And it really...
I know you're not prescribing any of it to anyone right now. You're just you're informing people. Is there did you look at dosages and like did you find anything about like is it a certain amount per weight how many times are you going to do it in a row?
Basically what they do is they take DMSO and they put a catheter in the bladder and they put the DMSO in for a special period of time and then let it run out.
So they bypass. You don't do it orally.
No, you don't do it orally. You put it right in the bladder.
Because we talked about me potentially, and I haven't yet started taking DMSO orally for my gut issues that I've had forever. And I think I'm going to try it right after Thanksgiving and up to Christmas.
That's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Except, you're putting it in your gut.
Yeah, I'm going to drink it.
But I ran across this one today, and I thought it was wonderful because I've had quite a number of patients with interstitial cystitis, and it's just horrible. And
it just stay. I mean, it doesn't go away on its own.
Well,
usually,
it usually doesn't go away. You have to treat it, and you can control it to some extent. But from what I'm reading about DMSO, it works pretty well.
Okay, so it's something that. Once you have had it, are you prone to getting it again? Is it like an ongoing?
Well, no, it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. Okay.
You may, if you go for, let's say, 6 months to getting it once a month, it improves the number of attacks that you have.
Okay.
Man, I've only had a catheter one time, and it was not a pleasant experience. I hope to. Have you ever had to have one, Chad? No?
Well, it's typically easier with women because their urethra is only about an inch long, whereas, with men, it's much larger.
Mine's about 12 inches long. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, come on.
Well, because you've got to add space. It's got to go in and up into the bladder and stuff. I'm being very technical here.
Yeah.
If I had that giggle button, that laugh button, I would have totally hit that.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All righty. Come on, guys.
All right. So that's positive for.
Yeah, it is. And it's. I think you'll be hearing more and more about that because even though there aren't very many females that have it, and I have never come across a male that has it, but
it's interesting. That's wild that it's gender specific almost.
Yeah, well, a lot of things are gender specific.
Well, yes, but this specific thing,
women don't have a prostate. So,
hey, that's not true. Men also have wombs.
So no men have this thing. It's only women.
I think very few. There may be some, but I've never come across one in my 50 years.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because we all have bladders, so that's why I was kind of surprised that it is gender specific. You're right; they don't have a prostate, I guess. But.
Well, it may be hormonal that deals with it. some women who have a lot more estrogen than others have problems with this sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, the second thing I wanted to talk about.
I just noticed you're wearing new glasses, aren't you?
Yeah, I mentioned that before.
I must have been
the
sleeping.
other pair somehow got stepped on by a dog or sat on by me. Or
I like those better, I think.
I like them. They're sharp.
You get them Amazon, or where'd you find them?
Amazon. I got them this afternoon. I ordered them 2 days ago, and boom, they were here.
How much were they? About $20, $30? Or?
Less than $30.
Okay. I'm going to have to get something like that. I haven't seen those. I like those a lot.
The only thing is I'm going to have to put my little half moons in there where I can
Your bifocal.
see my bifocals where I can see them. I didn't have time to do that as I was leaving.
I'm thinking about that too. People may notice I change my glasses back and forth because these are cheaters. These have a 1.25 whatever they call the
lens. Oh,
magnification. Yeah.
So I do that, and it is annoying having to bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
But so I could put some of those cheaters in here, I guess.
Yeah.
A little film.
You can get those at Amazon, and they just stick to the back of the lens, and they're shaped like a half moon.
Man, Jeff Bezos should support us. We talk about Amazon all the time.
Yeah.
Well, everybody loves Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of the mom and pop restaurants or mom and pop businesses didn't really like Amazon that much.
No, but
Walmart doesn't like Amazon.
Well, I don't really like Walmart.
That's true. Fair.
Hey, don't talk about that. I go to Walmart probably once every other day.
Well, I didn't say I don't go. I just I don't like it.
I don't go.
Yeah.
I go for we do for. Some
I refuse. Anyway, so number 2 on the docket.
Number 2 on the docket is antiparasitic drugs.
Okay.
And it's not just in ivermectin. It's not just fenbendazole. It's all of them have significant anti-cancer properties. And some are more valuable than others, but almost all of them do. And they threw me a list here that's got about 20 different types. And most of the research that they've done on that is either in vitro, so they take cancer cells and put them next to the ivermectin or whatever and see what happens. But also with animals and with humans. You may recall a number of months ago we talked about a guy who is using ivermectin and fenbendazole as to treat cancers. And
part of his regimen.
Yeah. And these are really bad cancers that we're dealing with, like stage 4 small cell lung cancer or esophageal cancer or pancreatic cancer. But that one patient was 3 years, I believe, out from being diagnosed, and she had like stage 4 small cell, and typically those people die within 6 to 8 months. But she was still alive after 3 years and in reasonably good health. But we don't know yet which is the best to use, but ivermectin plus fenbendazole is the one that most people use. Now, you can't buy fenbendazole. You can buy fenbendazole off of Amazon. You can't get real high doses of ivermectin off of that. But if you want some ivermectin, I've got a whole bunch.
Yeah, Dr. Roy's got some ivermectin. These are 12 milligrams. I did come prepared today to talk about fenbendazole and ivermectin because I've got several friends and friends' wives who are battling cancer.
A friend of mine's wife has just started her treatment for breast cancer. She's 30.
Yeah.
So
30.
So there's a lot of turbo cancers.
A
lot of post-vaccine turbo.
Ooh, I don't know if she's vaccinated. I'm
turbo
going to ask
cancer.
that question.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff here, and the doc's already kind of breached the hatch. I didn't know which direction we were going to go. I've got so there's a couple things we talk about. I share Dr. John Campbell a lot. I don't know, and I highly recommend.
Is he the British guy?
Yes,
I like him.
I got a clip from him. He has 3.28 million subscribers. So he's got a lot of people paying attention to him, which is fantastic. I love his accent, but he always brings great information. And so what I want people to pay attention to when they listen to him is he's dancing around YouTube and other censorship things by saying very regularly that I'm not suggesting you do this. I'm not your doctor.
I'm just telling you that this is happening.
Yeah. So he does it very tongue in cheek, but he does it intentionally.
Yeah.
So whenever you listen to it, don't be put off by he says I'm not telling you to do this, but he's just doing that to protect himself from getting removed. Anyway, there's that treatment, and I also have a clip on here about nutritional ketosis being a help for fighting cancer as well.
That is true, and some of the big cancer hospitals, that's the first thing they do is put them on a ketogenic diet, and what that apparently does is it's glucose that causes the problems. So they put them on keto diets that have very little glucose or anything else.
Yeah. So let's, this is a shorter clip. I'm going to share this one first.
Great.
Let me know are you ready?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
It's just that we're doing everything we possibly can to induce it in our diet and lifestyle. I was like everybody else. I thought cancer was a genetic disease. And we published one of the first ever papers linking that how higher your blood sugar, the faster the tumor grows. The lower the blood sugar, the slower the tumor grows.
Right.
Undeniable. From a normal cell to a cancer cell doesn't happen overnight. All we have to know with cancer is that how are they growing so rapidly? Why are they going out of control? How come it's so hard to kill them? A solution to the cancer problem, to manage cancer without toxicity, is to simultaneously restrict the two fuels, glucose, which is already in our bloodstream from the food we eat, and the amino acid glutamine. If we stopped eating and we took a low carbohydrate diet and just did water only fasting, we would get into nutritional ketosis. The tumor cells have a bad mitochondria. They're dependent on glucose and glutamine. We can replace glucose and glutamine with ketone bodies. So we selectively marginalize these tumor cells slowly over time. They slowly start to die, the blood vessels disappear, and the body comes in and dissolves them.
So really we need to be thinking about all the things that have caused dysfunction in the mitochondria.
Absolutely. If you can keep your mitochondria healthy.
How?
Vigorous exercise, water-only fasting, and reduce consumption of highly processed carbohydrates. Cancer.
So that's part of it. The glasses that me and Doc are wearing are also to help protect mitochondria. And so like after the sun goes down, I have these glasses on if I'm in any kind of artificial light. If we're watching any kind of television or on a monitor, I always have blue light blockers, and that's what Dr. Roy is wearing as well.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to sell Travis on it yet.
I have some. Since I've never had to wear glasses in my life.
But most people need to understand is absolutely scientific fact that the artificial lights do not allow your brain, or what's the cycle that kicks in when the sun goes down?
Yeah.
I forgot the circadian rhythm basically doesn't click in as it would have hundreds and thousands of years ago. So when the sun comes up, sun goes down. So we've stunted that, and so part of wearing these glasses is to improve mitochondrial function and to allow proper circadian rhythm to start of an evening.
I wear mine even during the day when I'm in a room with neon lights.
I got some yellow ones that I don't have them in here. I got some yellow ones that I wore today when we went to lunch, and I really like those. It allows all the regular light that you would get from the sun,
right?
But not the LEDs and the fluorescents, which are terrible for you.
Sure.
Okay, so that was kind of a no brainer. The other one, I don't know how much we're going to watch of this one. So this is Dr. John Campbell. This was from 13 days ago, and I didn't put a start or end on it. So we'll just see where he goes, and we'll listen to it for a minute, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Well, warm welcome to this talk. Now, a couple of days ago, we looked at Fenbendazole and its possible treatment in cancer. Now, what always happens when I do these videos is I get literally thousands of comments posted. And I'm going to read you a few of them. Now, I'm not going to tell you who posted them. I've got a few pages of them here. They're all in the public domain because they're all on that, on the feedback from that video. So you can read them if you wanted to check who they are, you could. But this is not evidence, but this idea that the plural of anecdotes hypothesis, this should be getting tested. And later on, maybe in the next video, we'll have good news from Florida where it looks like it is being tested in Florida. Anyway, just a few of the comments about fenbendazole and ivermectin mostly. My co-worker was stage 4 prostate cancer a few months ago and had resigned and was put on hospice, terminal care. He got the Fenben, and long story short, he's back at work today. Now, this could be someone making it up. I don't think it's AI. This could be a lie. It could be an exaggeration. Of course, we don't know. But when you put all these together, they're pointing in a direction that needs to be tested. Another one. I just heard from a relative who had stage 4 cancer. That's metastatic cancer all over the place. And the doctor told him to get his affairs in order and gave him an estimate of 3 months. He went on ivermectin and fenbendazole protocol and is now in complete remission. I've never known anyone personally who's had such a benefit from a non-traditional cancer treatment until now. Interesting anecdote, isn't it? It's putting together, this needs tested. Another one, and they're all there, you can check these for yourself if you want to. I'm a pharmacist and I have a patient who had stage 4 lung cancer. Not a good prognosis at all. He was about to start his 3rd round of chemo with a poor prognosis when he heard about and started fenbendazole. He didn't tell the physician treating him or me. Instead, I noticed one day he didn't come in with his oxygen, and he was smiling and told me what he'd been doing. He said it changed his life. He went from near bedridden to working in the yard, mowing grass and doing pretty much anything else he wanted to do. The physician has given him the all clear and is still scratching his head about it because he didn't expect the chemo to work like it did. He still doesn't know.
Yeah.
And my patient is still taking it religiously.
I'm actually texting my buddy.
I have 2 dogs, another one. I have 2 dogs with stage 4 cancer. One has survived 3 years in great health, and she is very old to boot. The second dog was given weeks to live 3 months ago and is doing better than ever. No side effects from Fenben 222, presumably 222 milligrams, 222 milligrams every day. So delighted that the dogs are doing better. Now, of course, fenbendazole is not approved for human use in the UK or in the United States. So never stop or start taking anything based on what you hear in this video. I'm just reading you out a few anecdotes.
So we'll stop it there. It goes on.
Yeah.
That was about 3.5 minutes. It goes on for 14 minutes. I strongly recommend anyone, first of all, continue listening to the podcast. Dr. Roy is going to continue pulling these things to light. He listens to Dr. John Campbell as well. You know, obviously I do as well when I'm getting these clips together. And I just want everybody to have all the information that they can at hand to make the best decision for themselves.
Yep. The decision is the patient's, not the doctor's.
That is 100% accurate.
And you need to lay different things out in front of them and say, well, this one will do that, this one will do that, and what do you think?
Well, and I'm sure there are going to be a certain number of doctors that completely dismiss it and maybe, may even get upset in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to determine whether that's, they're the right doctor for you. If they're not open to hear things, send them a clip of Dr. Roy talking about it. Send them a clip of Dr. Roy watching this video with this other guy talking about it. There's just a lot of research coming down the pipeline, and I think that has something to do with the change in administration. So that's very positive news.
Yeah.
I don't know, Doc.
The last one was the GLP1, and I was mainly looking for a list of adverse things, but
before you get into it, would you just say tell us what what are GLP1s? What are they for?
GLP1 receptor agonists. They are a group of pharmaceuticals that, number one, decrease the amount of insulin that your body is, or makes insulin better for you to use, because a lot of obesity is caused by insulin resistance. And insulin only does two things. Number one, it pushes glucose in and has the glucose taken down. And the other thing is that it makes fat. And if you have insulin resistance, it tends to go towards making fat. And the GLP1s, there are a number of them, semaglutide, liraglutide, and several others. And they go under the names of Mounjaro and Zepbound and Ozempic. And there has been a tremendous amount of use of that in the United States anyway. And I have personally seen patients that lose 80 to 100 pounds over a 3-year period. And they feel better than they ever had. That's the good part. The bad part is that at the same time that you're losing fat, you're also losing muscle. And it's very important to get in a high protein diet. Eat as much protein as you can. I was talking to a patient just the other day, and I mentioned that, and I asked her how much protein she got in a day, and she said, 40 or 50 grams. And I said, you need to bump that up to about 90 to 120 grams a day to really make a difference. And low keto diets and high protein diets are definitely the ones that you need to look at.
And wouldn't you suggest maybe strength training or exercise for sure at the same time?
Yeah, you've got to exercise. You can't just sit on your bottom and wait for the fat to roll off. You've got to exercise. And I personally, without the use of the GLP1, lost 40 pounds from Thanksgiving last year until about July or August of this year. I lost 40 pounds.
Wow, congrats.
And I weighed myself again today, and I'm not getting any fatter, because in July I was 165 pounds, and today I was 164.
So have you just changed your diet? I mean,
Yeah.
I know you're walking every day, or most days.
Yeah, I have changed my diet. It's a keto-based diet, high protein, and I only eat 2 meals a day. Some of them can be called breakfast, or some of them can be called lunch. But high protein is a big deal in those.
Do you do intermittent fasting then? Do you not?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I eat ice cream now. So.
Oh wow! And you're still maintaining it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But I don't eat like a Jethro bowl of ice cream. I eat like one small Magnum bar.
I'm down about 20.
Good for you. Good for you.
just eliminating some kind of
Pretty much doing the same thing he's talking about, except I am intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
So I make sure to eat my last meal by 7, and I don't eat my first meal of the day until about 11.
Yeah.
And then high protein. Usually I eat a lot of tuna.
Yeah.
To be honest. And
that's what I told the patient the other day. I said, you better grab some tuna and start eating 2 cans a day. And she does.
Is that why they call him Toucan Sam?
No, forget that. But
shut your mouth, Travis.
Shut your mouth, Travis. You don't know nothing about machinery.
Moron.
Yeah. But exercise is very important, and my exercise is simply with power walking. I will get out 4 to 5 days a week and walk somewhere between 5 and 7 miles when I do that. And if you're walking fast enough, you can walk 5.5 miles in 90 minutes. And I think my best one is I got 5 miles exactly in 86 minutes.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I do, and my wife got injured and I got out of my exercise pattern. I need to hop back in it. But
Yeah.
what I use that a lot of times to listen to different podcasts. So get your exercise, put in United Divided podcast, and do 2 awesome things at one time.
Right.
How about that?
Right. Sounds good.
Booyah.
We'll help you lose weight.
There are some adverse effects of GLP-1s, mainly on the gut, and a lot of people develop constipation, or the opposite, diarrhea, where they have to go. They get cramps, that sort of thing.
And don't you have to stay on GLP-1s once you get on them?
Once you get on them and get to a level where you want to stay, you can cut back, but you do have to continue using those as long as you want. And I've got patients who have been on it for 4 or 5 years.
Well, just consider that. I mean, from a price point perspective, I know they're not. I mean, a lot of them aren't cheap. And so, something that once you start that, if you've tried other things and you can't lose weight, I understand everybody's got to make their own decision. Obviously, consult with your doctor, all that good stuff. But do know that, I mean, you're going to have to take it for a long time, forever. There are costs associated with that, the potential side effects. I've heard some different side effects other than the ones that you mentioned.
Well,
so
I haven't gotten to those.
Oh, well, let's dig into that.
Well, the first thing is loss of muscle, because you will lose muscle at the same time that you lose fat. Mm-hmm. There's a problem with your skin is that, if you lose 50 pounds, you're going to have big wads of skin. The skin doesn't it doesn't sock up just like the other things would. So you have big rolls of skin hanging all over you. And there are some creams that you can put on there that actually work pretty well. And I don't want to mention which they are or anything like that.
Not promoting them.
Yeah. But if you go to Glock and say, what are the least expensive but best things for after weight loss, it will tell you right then. There have been some other really bad things. If you lose a lot of fat in your face, you will appear to be older than you are, and you may even look like somebody from a concentration camp.
Like a
recessed. Kind of emaciated.
Yeah, recessed.
Emaciated? That was good word.
Emaciated.
Emaciated.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Close enough.
I'm the idiot, remember?
Yeah. Anyway, you do look a little bit older, but I'll tell you personally that you can get rid of that. There are some things that you can purchase without much money and put on your skin, and it makes it look a whole lot better. And I don't look as old as I am because I've been using that for about 9 months.
Oh, wow.
And move along. There have also been the skin problems, and if you have real big masses of skin hanging off, you'll probably want to see a plastic surgeon who can sort of tighten
nip and tuck.
Yeah, nip and tuck.
That was a good show back in the day.
Yeah,
I never
Nip tuck. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, but there are some other things that come about, and they're not common, but if you have those, so they're talking about, particularly in women, you have to up your calcium intake to make sure that your osteoporosis doesn't get worse. That's kind of the worst thing in the world is an obese female with osteoporosis, because all the extra weight pulls that off, and you might
really hard on your bones.
Yeah, it's hard on your bones. So drink a lot of that. I eat a lot of yogurt, Greek yogurt. That's 20 grams per cup per day, and I'll eat like 3 cups in the morning. So
Wow.
that's a lot, and it has a lot of calcium in it. It helps you out there. Vitamin D is essential in doing this. If you are not taking supplemental vitamin D or getting out in the sun all the time, get on some vitamin
You cued.
D.
It's like you were reading my notes, Dr. Roy. You cued me up perfectly today.
Yeah.
My wife can't take D3. She's very sensitive to it, and
She's on D2 though.
What I have found about her though is she doesn't know her body has very good intuition. Like she's always been any harsh light, fluorescent lights or LEDs have always really bothered her. Mm-hmm. And now I'm wearing orange glasses because they should bother you, because they actually once you get used to not having them in your eyeballs anymore, then you get sensitive to them. But you queued up the D3 thing. I've got some a clip to show here, because you've been very pro D3, and I'm kind of on the fence with it. Very much, I know we're chronically low on vitamin D, and we should be getting a lot more sun than we are. You should get in the sun every day. Let your eyes hit the sun. You should get
and
skin.
That's what I do when I walk. That I've thrown away my glasses.
So I'm throwing this clip at you, and I'm not trying to broadside you, and I'm not trying to. This isn't a gotcha. I just want you to dig into it and think and look into it more.
Sure.
Since you are taking them, and I'm not quite ready yet, Travis. I'm too busy talking, not cute.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm taking supplemental vitamin D, and I get out in the sun as much as I can. When I go on my walks, temperature watched. If I'll wear shorts as long as it's above freezing, get it on my legs and get it on my face.
You wear those old coaching, like the velour or not velour? What was that? Like the old coaching shorts that were like 7 inches long. And that was it. You remember those?
No.
Like back in the day.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
from like the 70s.
Richard Simmons shorts.
Well, but they were made of like not a soft material really. My grandfather used to wear them all the time. But you'd have to make sure that nothing was hanging out.
Some chafing going on.
Yeah.
Here's the clip.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
Okay.
Vitamin D3 or D3K2 right now, you are unwillingly participating in the supplement industry's dirtiest little secret. Listen to this. Almost all vitamin D3 on store shelves comes straight from Chinese factories, and 85% of it is made by extracting the vitamin from skin wax off of the back of sheep. Yes, the vitamins you eat are picked out of sheep wool wax, and nobody knows about it. None of it is vegan friendly, none of it is vegetarian, despite what the label tells you. And it gets worse. The same D3 from sheep in concentrated form is also a pesticide. The level of misdirection is absolutely insane with this. But vitamin D is super important, so it's a great vitamin and it works. Long story short, we had to do something about this, so we made our own.
So I'm not going to plug him. Two things I liked about him. He had a Bitcoin thing behind him.
I spotted that immediately.
I'm like, I kind of trust the dude a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually got into Grok and asked. I think I might have. Don't take my screen. I mean, leave my screen off.
Yep.
Let me see if I
won't let him see.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, hang on a second here. Let's see if I can get this to open up. So I asked Grok. I think this was Grok Heavy. I don't think this was regular Grok. I said, "Are D3 vitamins pulled from sheep's wool wax?" Yes. Vitamin D3, whatever, cholecalciferol, is commonly derived from lanolin, a waxy substance extracted from sheep's wool. The process involves isolating 7-deoxycholesterol from lanolin
cholesterol,
and then exposing it to ultraviolet light. Yeah. And so, again, as with most anything, not all products are the same. I'm always cautious about just popping a supplement. Don't know where it comes from. Not saying that guy that he was selling he's selling the D3. So I just wanted to put that in front of you, Doc, because I know you do recommend it. I know you do take it, and well, not all things are created equal.
I don't have a problem at all with doing that, because you've got to get the vitamin D from somewhere. And if they take the lanolin, Sunshine. Well,
You can't pop sunshine in your mouth.
You can't.
Well,
yeah.
I knew a girl named
And you can get sunshine to a limit, but the reason that our forebears didn't have a problem with D3 is that they were out in the sun all the time. Whereas now we don't really have the time to do that. But the lanolin is a pretty good thing, and I use that on some other problems. And
well, I just want to provide a balance. So if patients or clients or anyone listening to this podcast thinks that, we are chronically deficient of vitamin D3, there is no doubt about it. That's the reason why there were so many terrible COVID outcomes.
Yeah.
I think cancer is less prevalent in people with normal or
with
better
high vitamin D.
A lot of association. I mean, we've talked about many things that are connected.
Okay, a word for the wise. Don't take too much vitamin D because that will cause other problems. And I have seen 3 patients who have taken too much vitamin D. One was a man who ended up being in a coma for about 3 weeks until we could get all the D3 out of his body.
Did he try to overdose on it?
No.
What? He just was taking too much?
It was a mistake. And this guy had surgery on his neck to remove cancer. And they thought that they had taken his parathyroids out. When they did that, parathyroids are in charge of the calcium in your body. And he had a few twitches, so they put him on a high dose of D3. Like he consumed, I think I figured it out, he consumed in 3 weeks, he consumed what would be a normal amount for regular humans in 17 years.
Oh, my.
So he had a tremendous amount of D3 in his body, and his serum calcium was 16, and it normally should be about 10 to 11. And he was in a coma, but we pulled him out. We washed it out and
went back to normal after the D level went down. Wow.
He woke up about a week later and said, and he couldn't talk because his larynx had been removed. So what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And we told him about that.
Wow.
But that was one of the very first patients that I saw right after I started my internship. And they just said, "Here, Arnold, you're smart.
Yeah.
Take care of this." So I did.
Cool. I didn't cue you up for this, so I don't know if maybe it's a good fit or not, but it does seem to fit. It seems to fit because we're kind of on a roll here. How much do you know, just offhand, do you talk to people about HRT, hormone replacement therapy?
Yeah,
I've got a clip, and I just want to kind of
fair amount.
Yeah, okay.
Fair amount. I too am doing that just like you are, and it's important. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that between about 1970, maybe, and now, the average amount of testosterone in males has gone down by about 40%. And men who are, in their 50s or so right now have a 40 or 50% lower testosterone than their grandfather did or their father did. And I've
all kinds of factors probably might play into that, right? Environmental things we're eating, not being in the sun, all kinds of different
not
things.
being in the sun, and no exercise, obesity, all of these things, because testosterone is a complicated hormone, and it just gets sucked into the fat. So if you're obese at all, you're sucking in the testosterone and not using it. So going to get into an argument with a urologist about that on next Friday because my primary care said that I was taking too much testosterone, and I've got all these charts that I didn't bring that I'm going to shove into their face. When my
Bet he just loves you.
Yeah. Oh, he does. Yeah, because he tells me to do something, and I tell him he's fucked. Yeah.
Easy, Hunter.
Yeah. I know. That's what you sound like my son.
Yeah. What? Where'd you go to medical school?
We got a bleep.
Guadalajara. Anyway, I'm running about 600, and that's right at the tops. And he says, "Oh, that's way too much." Well, let me tell you what happens when my testosterone gets low. I get anemic. That means I don't have enough red blood cells, and I've got charts of what in 2024 I had lower hemoglobin and hematocrit than an average woman would. It was like I think my hemoglobin was 12 and my hematocrit was 35, and normally for a man the hematocrit would be 45 to 50 and the hemoglobin would be 15 or 16. So, and I felt like crap. And that's when I wanted to, I had to go to somebody else to get the testosterone. Sure. And he sent me to a urologist because he thought that testosterone was causing prostate cancer because my PSA was very slightly above. So I'm going to see the urologist, and I saw his picture, and he looks like he's about 22 years old, and I'm going to drag him across the floor. Like, where did you go to medical school? Guadalajara?
Well, let's listen to this clip.
Yeah.
And I think this is Dr. Heather on the Dark Horse that's talking more about her taking it, and she's getting through some of the myths and things.
Well, there's a lot of difference between what females take, and
it's all formula specific to the person.
That's right.
Yeah. Here we go.
That we were all scared about following, whatever it was, the giant nurses study from the late 90s or early aughts.
Oh, yeah.
That convinced people that taking estrogen, even in relatively low doses, while you're going through perimenopause or menopause will cause cancer. Turns out to have been bad research.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Absolutely.
Hang on a second here.
And the FDA has pulled the black box off of all estrogen products because of that. Previously, there was a black box that says, you can possibly develop breast cancer, and they pulled all those off. And I've had numerous patients say, "Thank goodness they did that."
I don't know why that clip shut off. I'm going to try to get it going again here.
Okay.
We've never had that happen. Uh-oh.
I never expected to be someone who would end up taking anything because I have a lifetime of only taking things when I thought that they were absolutely necessary. But starting 2019, I guess, I did start using estrogen patches because of specifically hot flashes and night sweats, suddenly, 40 a day. It was insane.
And your bones too.
I looked into the research intensively for a number of weeks and went and talked to a few medical professionals whom I trusted, with my papers in hand, and was compelled that so long as you also supplement with progesterone, because you don't want the ratios to be wildly off of what they would be if you weren't supplementing with one or the other. At least you don't want an excess of estrogen. it seems to be actually mildly protective against some forms of cancers, and there was no evidence that there are negative effects. And
if
the
they
hot
take
flashes went right away. I didn't
progesterone.
have any of the other effects, so I can't speak to them. But I am compelled. I don't like the idea of injections at this point. Just don't trust it. And I will say that it has since been suggested, actually, with regard to progesterone, and you don't want one of these implanted. Like, I don't trust implants, including
Absolutely
like
not.
progesterone in the form of the Mirena IUD. There are a lot of things wrong down that road, which I'm not going to go into now. But there is a spray-on progesterone that actually might be useful for men and women and men alike, because progesterone is, yes, a sex steroid. Yes, women have more of it than men, but men actually have a fair bit, and all of our sex steroid hormones decrease with age, and progesterone has a number of salutary effects on both sexes.
Yeah.
All right, I will add a couple things. One, something about our story of menopause doesn't make any sense.
True.
Yeah, I don't want to go down that.
Yeah.
So this clip, if you want to watch, this one's a 5-minute clip, so you'll probably have a hard time finding it. But it's from Dark Horse. If you do a Google search for Dark Horse, hormone replacement therapy, an evolutionary biologist approach to HRT, you can find that full clip.
One thing that you have to remember is that it's only been 10 years where 10, maybe 12 years before women can actually take real estrogen and progesterone. Previously, the drugs that were put out for treatment of hot flashes and that sort of thing were taken from mares' horses, female horses. They had a couple of hundred of them, and they were hooked up, and the horses would urinate into the things that they had on them, and then they would take out that. So it was not even human progesterone and estrogen that was being given to women at that time. And
that was the faulty part of it.
The name, and that did cause a lot of breast cancers. And the drug that was responsible for that was called Premarin. And a lot of people didn't realize that it came from horses. Now we have the estradiol and estrone are exactly the same as our bodies would make, the female's ovaries would make. And the same thing partially goes for testosterone in men. And for years and years, they said the only way to get testosterone is to have shots. And then they figured out that you could put a gel on the skin and it would be absorbed pretty well. And they said, oh no, don't take tablets. And now they have tablets that bypass the liver, and so you can take testosterone by tablets now. But I still prefer either putting it on your skin or getting the shots. The shots aren't that bad, folks. Give yourself a shot every couple of days, and it works real well.
There you go.
But they as the average testosterone level decreased as in men as it went along, the laboratories decreased their upper amount, so that 600 would be considered elevated now, whereas 20 years ago that would be right in the middle of things. It was, up to 1,000 back in the 1970s and 80s. So that's why I'm gonna beat the snot out of a
Maybe that's why we haven't had a world war in a while. Everybody wasn't all hopped up on testosterone as much.
Yeah. Well, it was
methamphetamine
amphetamine for not only
Nazis, wasn't it?
Not only the Nazis, but the Americans too. They were on a lot of that, and if you look at Masters of the Air, the pilots and some of the other ones were on amphetamines back then.
Wow. Did you cover the basis of the things that you brought regarding the medical stuff?
Yeah,
today?
pretty much.
Okay.
And, we jumped into vitamin D, which I don't think is a bad thing, getting it out of sheep lanolin.
I just say, it weirded me out a little bit. And just
it didn't weird me out.
And everything comes from China.
Yeah.
That weirds me out a little bit. I don't trust them with anything. So
true.
It's just me.
But there are sheep in the United States. There are tons of them.
Yeah, no, we just don't make any vitamin D. I mean, this guy, there are companies that are making it, and that's kind of what I would say. Spend a little bit more, do some research, find out the source, and I'd be really interested to know where they get their D3.
Yeah,
so there's just more research to be done.
And people who want to be quote vegan will not want to have anything that comes from animals or anything like that. Well, I'll tell you this, if you are a true vegan and you're only eating vegetables, not just a vegetarian where you have fish sometime, but complete vegans, you have to take B12 and you have to take iron, because you're gonna fall down and die within 3 or 4 years if you don't. You won't be making enough red blood cells if you don't have B12. And there is not a B12 that comes from plants. It's all in animals.
Wow.
Mainly.
They're in a conundrum, I guess, then, if they're really super pure about their dedication.
Right. So they have vegan B12 out there. But I can tell you that it came from an animal.
Okay.
And
how can they call it vegan then?
They just do.
How can
I've got
supplement company? How
steak is vegan?
How can a pharmaceutical lie? I don't know.
Vegan salami and.
Have you watched this podcast ever? Do you
no, I don't. I've never watched it. I have never ever watched it. No.
Oh man.
So I want to do some more medical stuff today. It's very medical heavy, but I do want to pivot back around to.
Since you're paying the physician such a large amount of money to be here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So back around to the Centerpoint thing. So I saw a post from a local company, Evansville company called High Score Saloon. I'm assuming it's a pinball, like a video game place.
It's mostly pinballs, but yeah.
So they posted a picture, a graphic that said on July 21st, 2025, their utility bill was $1,600.72, $1,672.61, and on 11/24, that's this last one they got, $2,919.
I know.
And so I reached out to them. I said, I'm doing a podcast in Evansville tomorrow night. Would like to spotlight your Centerpoint bill. Would the owner like to make a statement? And the owner or someone on the owner's behalf responded, "Hi, thanks for contacting us. We received your message and appreciate you reaching out." Sure. And hit the point. The message was, CP will kill the retail and restaurant business.
Yeah.
So
that's really weird too, because there's less between, like, July you're using your air, you're like full blast probably at that point.
Yeah.
November it's probably kind of hit or miss whether there's anything going on with your HVAC. Now, granted, they probably are pretty heavy with electricity there as far as all the games and stuff.
Why would that jump from, unless their business jumped?
No, that's what I'm saying. I know. I agree, but I'm just saying
the games are still on, probably, whether there's anybody playing them.
Our Centerpoint bill went down from July to November.
Mine did too.
So.
Yeah, so the moral of the story is we talk about
only because of non-use. That's the only because my HVAC hasn't really been on. I've been keeping it kind of cold lately and that kind of thing. Not because of anything special.
I mean, we're having an affordability crisis in town anyway, And if you're on Centerpoint, you're feeling the pain. Businesses a lot of them have been struggling even since COVID. COVID shut down a lot of them. And now we've got another round of tyranny coming from this company that is not being held accountable to their rates. And so we're going into, holiday season, people's bills, a lot of them seem to be going up, and we believe that's wrong. So we're working to get in front of some people. We've talked to Joe Gratachville several times on the pod, and he's talking about energy. So we'll have him on again to try to come up with some solutions to that. But
I will say, I bet mine is higher now than it was last year at this time. But I just meant that jump from July.
Mine's
July
clearly higher.
Yeah,
it's like.
So I don't want it to seem like
$250.
I don't want it to seem like we're not having a problem. I just meant from July to November. That's a weird. It's weird that it's such a jump there.
So support local businesses. Give High Score Saloon a visit. Take your kids. Let them see some old school games. And I think
get the Rush pinball machine, High Score Saloon, and I'll come down and blow all kinds of money.
There you go.
There is a Rush one, but by the way,
yeah,
but it moves around. Like nobody can have it for a long period of time. It's really weird how that works.
Well, we talked when we were talking to my son Hunter on the last podcast. We were having a conversation about affordability as well, and like how his generation basically feels like they're not going to be able to own anything or afford anything, and the cost of housing and the cost of everything basically skyrocketing. And he's at an age where he doesn't even have to pay for his own medical insurance or health insurance yet. And so he's really just seeing the beginning of it. But I mean, I have to agree with him. Like the skyrocketing property taxes, skyrocketing energy bills, skyrocketing prices of everything.
So,
and our money is not keeping, we're not making more and more and more.
No.
They're debasing the dollar, which is why we started getting and talking about Bitcoin a lot. And so, I mean, I really feel for him, honestly. You had something, Trav.
Yeah, I was just going to interject for just a second. It's funny that you bring that up, kind of, because a good friend of mine, he told me, he asked me, I used to be a lender, a mortgage lender, and he asked me if I was still doing it, and he said his son's looking, blah, blah, blah. But I got to doing a little bit of research on the market just for him, and since I've been out of it for a little over a year, and there is a lot of economists who are thinking that the housing market is getting ready to do a reset even worse than 2008, like probably losing about half the value. The bubble's gonna have to bust.
My good friend, who is a realtor here in town, his first name is Doug. Said that same thing at a meeting that I was going to. The houses that are going to be hit by this are the ones that are most recently made. The old houses like this one and like mine are not going to be hit that hard. So I felt real good after that because, I probably will sell my house within the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the year made a part of that? Because I would think all homes have a very swollen value right now.
Yeah,
and so
Evansville has been a little bit insulated from that over the years because we haven't had the crazy price hikes and cost of living until recently. I mean, when COVID hit, we did get like houses in this neighborhood went crazy. I mean, then people went nuts, so I think it is going to reset more now than it ever has for. I think I cut you off, Travis. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's probably going to reset because the newer built homes are the ones that first time buyers really go after because they're lower, and those are going to fall. So the sellers are going to get hurt, but the purchasers are really not.
So what's the reason you're thinking and hearing as to why it might collapse? Well, he said there's a murmuring going on. It could be like 2008. I mean, that's what you said too, right?
Right. It's supposed to be, the reset is suspected to be worse than 2008.
So what's the...
I sent you the article, by the way. I just did to your messages. But a lot of it has to do with once it gets high enough, there's a whole domino effect to this, but once it gets so high, you're going to get people that aren't going to buy. It's going to stagnate the market.
Yeah.
Part of that,
they're going to rent.
Part of that also is that lenders, you're going to have to try to get the value for lending in line there, and I think a lot of lenders are going to require more money down.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it is just kind of stagnation. And Doc, you mentioned, it's the buyers are going to be set, but the sellers are going to be, it's going to be a problem for the sellers.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people that buy homes still need to sell their home.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, my wife and I, we were talking about buying a new home.
Yeah.
We're like, well, because our house is about, I bet it's gained 40% in value in the 8 years that since we purchased it. But I told her, I said, we're either going to sell high and buy even higher, or if this all comes crashing down, I don't think the age of the house is going to be as big of a thing. I mean, it might be, but I think even when it comes crashing down, now, our house is maybe worth what we paid for it 8 years ago. And hopefully the house we buy is going to be hopefully at that same value.
Well, I think an intelligent move for play, if you had flexibility built in, to me, especially if I were young and you own something,
would be to just
rent
be
for
a couple
rental, sit it out for a few years, sell it while you can. Store the money, obviously.
I was thinking the other way. I was thinking, go ahead and buy a new home, keep your old home, rent it out.
Yeah,
you can't sell it for.
I don't know.
Much.
I think if the values go down, you can buy it cheaper. Though is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
later.
So no. So like I stay in my home.
Yeah.
Everything drops. So now my house isn't worth pennies.
Yeah.
But I buy the next house, keeping the current home, rent it out until the values come back up, and then I could sell it or just keep it as a rental. Well, that is an option.
Yeah, but I mean, only slightly different. I would say, like, if you could sell it right now, and you're going to get what max you could get out of it, and then it drops. If you sold it at the high, it's like then you can buy whenever the other house that you want comes down at a level. So you get max value, and you're paying less.
You can also kind of make money though off of renting as well.
Well, and you've got to keep in mind that
off of being a landlord,
the rates that you'll pay on your mortgages are considerably higher than they were 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, they're coming down a little bit.
They are coming down a little bit, but you're absolutely right. So I refinanced during the whole COVID debacle, and we're at, I think, 2.75.
Yeah.
If I bought a new house right now,
I am.
If I bought a new house right now, it would be, I think, 6.25 or so.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's.
But I sent you that article. At least you can read up on it and see what. But it's not like some quackpot or something. I mean, it's
actually, Newsweek is what it is, which I like sometimes.
So,
okay, I don't know where I was going with that. So let's see, back over here.
You were talking about energy prices, Centerpoint.
Yeah, Centerpoint is definitely an issue here, and we're going to stay on top of them. And hopefully, if we get more of a local person on the IURC, which is a regulatory committee, hopefully we can get some accountability.
Well,
have they voted on that yet?
The only thing about that is that it's going to be one person on there, and he's not going to be able to convince all the other ones.
Right.
So
it's an appointed position.
Yeah.
And they've went through the first round of interviews, I believe. So I'm imagining, and we had a couple people locally that were in the hunt for it, and we don't have any representation up in.
Who's appointing it?
The governor. It's a governor appointed position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And he hasn't done any. The current governor has not appointed anybody. He could fire the entire commission, which is sure shit what I would have done on day one. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, you got to remember that he's got to work in two ways, because
be bipartisan, right?
Yeah, and also he's. If he fires all the people there and Centerpoint noses down, then they might just pick up and leave.
I don't know if that'd be a bad thing, Doc.
Well, you got to figure out. You think Duke can take care of all the stuff around here?
I would like to know that. I would like to have the option.
Yeah, that'd be
sure.
Great.
So we're going to pivot it back into medicine a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And the podcast, I started originally because as an anti-tyranny, when COVID hit and all the things started going crazy in the medical side, and censorship happened, and we were all basically being told the same thing, that you got to do this, you got to do that. All my alarm bells were going off, and so this first clip, basically is just going to be peering back in time of what we had to deal with. I don't want to do this. It's Thanksgiving. But I want everybody to remember, and I know Travis remembers very well. I remember very well. Travis, lost loved ones in the time and wasn't able to visit them. It was very heartbreaking all around. So part of this thing is, we need to spotlight where the tyranny has occurred, look at the signals, make sure that it doesn't happen again. But here's someone from our
you hit play,
Darth Fauci.
Yeah, I was going to say, before you hit play, I was just going to say this should be like top one in man on fucking planet Earth. Pardon my language.
Yeah.
I had to, that now it's PG-13 but this guy.
No, he already beat you to it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But this guy. Oh, I don't even have it on me.
I usually do. I throw an F-bomb about 10 minutes in.
About 10 minutes. Usually it's at one of us, but
Yeah.
shut the up. But anyway, I'm really, I don't exactly recall or know what happened with the whole auto pen situation and whether or not those pardons are sticking or not, but this guy really needs to be gone after, because he's even said that he made some of this stuff up. But
I'm highly concerned about several things going on in the current administration. One is the lack of FBI, DOJ really cracking down on any of the things that really have been troubling to me. Like, really no one's being held accountable. And so I think Bondi needs to go personally at this point, and I've been supportive of most everyone. I'm highly concerned about Bongino and Patel. I got friends that love them, and they're dealing with a lot of stuff, and I'm like, that's fine. But you said you were going to go in there, and
I'm pretty happy with them bombing the drug guys out in the
ocean.
Yeah,
but they didn't take care of Charlie Kirk's situation too awfully well. But
they haven't taken care of any of it. So let's
listen
listen to Darth Fauci and his what he had to tell us back before the holiday season.
Report your neighbor.
If you get vaccinated and your family's vaccinated, you can feel good about enjoying a typical Thanksgiving, Christmas with your family and close friends. We unfortunately still have a dynamics of infection in the community of about 70,000 new cases per day. So when you go to indoor congregate settings, go the extra mile, be safe, wear a mask. But when you're with your family at home, goodness, enjoy it with your parents, your children, your grandparents. There's no reason not to do that. This will end, Bill. We are not going to be going through this indefinitely. How quickly we get to the end depends on us. How well we vaccinate, how well we get boosted, and how well we do the kinds of things to protect ourselves.
Yeah, so he had prior to that, the man had said masks would do no good. They had all changed. All the lockdowns started. All that changed.
Yeah,
and one of the most concerning things to me is obviously our kids. We had, I had 2 kids in school then. And, our youngest was in a very important developmental stage and basically had everything, their entire lives thrown up in the air like everyone else. But our biggest job on the planet to me is protecting children. And instead of using, children as shields, which is what we turned into. And some of this other clip I'm going to share, this is from the Vigilant Fox, who I share quite a bit. But this video is basically shows the indoctrination that our kids received during that window of time.
How did Santa get the vaccine? And is it safe for him to go in the house?
How can Santa Claus safely give out presents with COVID-19 spreading everywhere? How can he do it?
Will Santa still be able to visit me in coronavirus this season? What if he can't go to anyone's house or near his reindeer?
Well, I have to say I took care of that for you because I was worried that you'd all be upset. So what I did a little while ago, I took a trip up there to the North Pole. I went there and I vaccinated Santa Claus myself. I measured his level of immunity and he is good to go. He can come down the chimney. He can leave the presents. He can leave and you have nothing to worry about. Santa Claus is good to go.
I just threw up a little.
I have a lot.
He's probably going to keel over from myocarditis.
I have a lot of bad words to say right now.
Yeah.
But all I really want to say is, again, just as a reminder, it was a few holiday seasons ago that we dealt with this evil tyrant.
All we can do is laugh now. But do you remember when there was a phone number for you to turn people in?
Yeah. So that's where I mean, that's again the reason for the podcast is you start seeing society breaking down at that level. and it really did turn into, we asked the questions like, how do people become Nazis? How did people become okay with what Hitler was doing? And it's mass formation. It's everybody became afraid. We have to do this. Everybody just joined along because a few people were doing it, and then more and more people were doing it. And ivermectin got knocked down, which probably would have saved so many lives that and there are some really good studies coming out now.
Yeah, I just saw a study.
Dr. Campbell just talked about one. That's a new one.
Said that people that received ivermectin had a much better outcome than people who didn't receive.
Yeah, so we were lied to because the pharmaceutical companies couldn't get the vaccine made quickly if there was an alternative treatment, meaning this thing right here is the treatment. They called Joe Rogan, said Joe Rogan was taking horse paste, and CNN turned him green on the television to make him look like he was sick. And it was PR, media, and everything. It was a shit show. So I got a lot of different things on the vax we could talk about, but just real quick, circling into a vax that we talked about a lot, because one of the things that happens is whenever the pharmaceutical company wants people not to say things, not to have open discussions, they will censor, they will put all these fear campaigns out, and they're basically saying, you're anti-vaxxer. They call you all these different names because they're trying to, excommunicate and silence you. And again, that's all the more reason. Anytime someone says, don't listen to that person, they're dangerous or whatever, I automatically lean in and I want to know what they're saying. Like what is actually so dangerous that we can't use our brains together and determine if something's right or not. So this was a Joe Rogan podcast that they're talking about polio. And
I'm not allowed
one of our most heated debates that we've ever had here. We were talking about polio, and so it's the story is not done, and we're learning more. I think now again I'm not super happy with Maha all the way up and down the line, but there are at least people like this coming out and talking. This post was from Maha Action on Facebook.
I want to say it is another one of these sacred cows, right? Because everybody says you don't want polio coming back. Right. But here's the reality of polio.
Polio's
right from
back.
The CDC website. 99% of people who get polio never have any symptoms.
I know, that's crazy.
The typical symptom, you had Humphreys on, so you know some of that. The typical symptom is having a cold for a week, having sniffles. Number of deaths in the world, planet Earth, 8 billion people. Number of deaths last year from polio, you want to guess?
30. Zero.
Number of polio cases of the real terrible outcome, which is paralysis, which is the only bad outcome, 500 on the planet Earth. Half of whom recovered. You can recover from it on top of everything else. So you have 99% won't have any symptoms. Of the 1% of them will have poliomyelitis, which is the paralysis. And of the 500 I just told you about, 564 in 2022, 97% of them were vaccine-induced poliomyelitis.
Yep.
Meaning they were the strain from the vaccine.
Wow. Yeah, that's an inconvenient truth.
That's an inconvenient truth right from the CDC website.
Yeah, when you tell people that, they go, wait a minute, what are you saying?
So, Doc, so this is where we started spiraling around because, I think when things got heated between us, it was because I know you were way frustrated about things that you were learning and hitting you over the head and whatever. And I know that clip didn't do anything new for you, but I do have basically a question that I don't always give this to you, but I'm going to cue you up.
Okay.
And what are the most important takeaways and current insights that you have from the discussions that we've had and the revelations that you made of medicine and where we are? Like
it's very sad that things that we have been told are good for us, and they're actually not good for us. All the things that are put in the other vaccines and the multiple vaccines, it's really sad, and it's tough for me to believe it, but I do believe it, that I keep scooting down in my chair. It's a nice chair, Chad. It's not rock hard like it was.
That's right.
But
slight upgrade.
Yeah. The things that I was taught in medical school and all the way along was that vaccines were good for you, and they are not
safe and effective.
They are not safe and effective, because there's going to be a significant number of people who get problems with it. And, the guy just showed that on there, that he said that of the 500 who developed real polio, 97% of those had received the vaccine, and the vaccine was what caused it. So that's terrible. I don't like that.
It's an inconvenient truth for sure.
I'm sorry, Travis, for pulling a gun on you because you said pulling.
I pulled the gun on Chad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez. Anyway, so all of this to me is,
and you've got a gun pointed.
Well, we all started bringing them after that whole thing.
Yeah, I need defense. Who knows what's going to happen?
So for me, again, part of the podcast mission is uniting people that don't agree on all things, but can talk topically about things. And I know that we've informed a lot of people along the way of what we're trying to do and talking about the different vaccine controversies. And, I have people sending me information all the time, different clips that they think. I love that. And I need still, though, as society seems to be kind of on edge, I don't know how to put it, we kind of seem like there's something floating around that is just energy that's something bad waiting to happen. And I know that some of that is, you can create that own stuff in your head. I try not to dwell on it.
That's a lot of the division in the world too, I think.
Yes. So, that's the next clip I'm going to share is with Tucker Carlson and Anna Kasparian. She has a very popular podcast. Obviously, Tucker has a humongous reach. And they're talking about basically the divide that's happening. And I have a couple clips, actually, because I feel like we've got enough new listeners again to kind of, I'm trying to do a framework here of what we're up against.
People are starting to see beyond partisanship and instead kind of understand, okay, wait a minute, we're all Americans. It feels like a lot of the framing around partisan divides is completely manufactured and, in fact, is utilized by members of the media to divide us and to distract us from the fact that our government is not focused on taking care of us.
So that was the first short one.
Yeah.
And it's very, very short little clip. Fantastic. The next one is a little bit longer. And Chase Hughes, who I've basically started taking a program. I don't have a lot of time to do it, and I'm not doing it at the level that I should be as far as speed. But he has a lot of really good content out there, and is talking about technically how we're distracted at every level and how they do it. And he does talk about the MK Ultra experiment and how they've rolled that out. That rolls back around again to the LED lights and the fluorescent bulbs. And I know that sounds conspiratorial, but we have shared clips on this program multiple times of kids sitting in a classroom and being exposed to LED lights and how their behavior changes whenever they swap the lights out and they made it more of a natural light. Yeah. And there is definitely studies out there supporting that. So there's a thing going on, and this clip I thought did another pretty good job of explaining.
More in common with someone who voted for the other guy than the billionaire who is funding a lot of these ideas and ideologies that you're seeing on social media. You see these idiots on TV, whether they're left or right, based on who you are in real life, and the algorithm is showing you the opposite, right? The idiots on the other side. That's not real. That's a tiny percentage of the population, a tiny one, I think. If you go to like Walmart or Target and you're standing in line and you see somebody that voted for the other person, they're not an asshole. They're not slapping you in the face. We have so much in common with each other. Like, we all want fair income. We all want our kids to be safe. We all want our kids to be well fed. We want to be able to have fun and not pay too much taxes. Like, we have so much in common with those people. We have nothing in common with a lot of these elites who are kind of orchestrating a lot of the shit that we're seeing on social media.
So that was the Sean Ryan show.
Yeah.
And another, fantastic show. I pull a lot of clips from him. But I mean, the moral of the story is here. It's the program is called United Divided. That's what we came up with as a team.
Stop kicking that camera, Doc.
He's kicking the camera.
Yeah, making you shake like an earthquake.
Oh no, that's not good. Doc's got to hate. Why you got against my camera, buddy?
Nothing, but my right leg was
falling asleep.
I had to move.
Well, you can slide that. That does have an adjustment if you need to go down or up, but maybe not in the middle of the podcast.
Not in the middle of the podcast.
Travis has to keep you wrangled anyway because you tend to slide back and forth from.
Yeah.
I think you have him positioned pretty well, don't you?
Yeah, I moved him around a little bit while we were talking.
Haven't moved much.
Moved the camera around and put it that way.
All
right. So
I think more than governmental, there's also a lot of division. I think that's probably from the same people that are creating the red versus blue being bad. I think is also a lot of there's a racial divide. I don't feel it or see it as much as I did say 3 or 4 years ago. Like I feel like during COVID they were also trying to throw that whole card in there for some reason. But we did have something recently that kind of is splitting hairs a little bit. I don't know if we're going to talk about that today or not.
Yeah, sure.
We don't have to talk about it right now. But
no, I mean, I why not? So here in Evansville, we had a officer involved shooting, which ended with a person getting shot and killed. There was a domestic call to the police, and it's still under investigation now. But it is very much a sensitive and hot topic right now. Mm-hmm. I've been paying attention. I've been looking at a lot of different forums and trying to gauge what's going on. And a lot of the people that are involved in saying saying things already are people that a lot of them are the typical ones that are just saying race is everything, race is everything, race.
Because it's a Caucasian officer and it is a black man
a black man who was killed. And
but beyond that, he had a rap sheet. He had a pretty lengthy one, apparently.
I don't know about that. Potentially,
and the officer was called for a domestic between this guy and his son. We're fighting the mom or wife, which however you want to say that, called to have.
See, there's some conflicting information out there now, so I'm just going to caution you to.
Sure, no, okay, absolutely.
My wife has a little bit more intel. She's heard more sides of the story, and we believe what I was told last. And again, I don't know for sure.
You may want to pause that.
It's hearsay.
Playing.
Oh, is it? Is there noise going on?
No, okay. You're going to want to get to the beginning of it.
Yeah. So I was told that the fight was actually between the husband and the wife.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. Again, I don't know what. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. I don't. No one knows. It's not been investigated yet, and it hasn't been released to the public. So, but the thing is, it always does come back to anti-police. All the anti-police rhetoric comes up. The BLM rhetoric of all the things that they said about defunding the police and all that. And so
I really want to go. I don't know if you see this. Do you ever take First Avenue down and head east on the Lloyd? Like you turn left there down at the light at the bottom of where First Avenue goes underneath.
Yeah.
Look over at the overpass. There's a gigantic ACAB right there. And you may not know what that means. I didn't. My wife kind of had to tell me back in the day. I almost want to just go to Lowe's, buy a freaking gallon of white just to cover that up. And it stands for all cops are bastards.
Oh.
And it's a big thing. Look it up. Look it up. Google it. Like you'll find everybody. Like ACAB. It's just people who are against cops. And it just blows my mind. I mean, I realize that they're not 100%, always necessarily right, but who are you going to call when something? I mean, and a lot of people are now saying this specific instance here. This is why we don't call the police, or this is why we shouldn't call the police to help us, or anything like that. If you watch the body cam footage, I don't know if you were going to pull that up or not.
Yeah, I don't.
If you look, so. What not irritated, but what gets me is that if you don't want to show it, that's fine, but I will just kind of sum it up real quick. Cop goes in. As he's walking in, the wife/mother says, "We do have a gun in the house." Like as he's crossing the threshold of the home. So that kind of puts him on high alert.
Domestics are already high alert. Anyway.
They are.
They're the most violent.
The son says something to him, and I don't remember what it was. And then the dad comes around the corner holding, and you should show the picture I sent you at least, holding a bong that looks like a pistol. Okay? If you pull that picture up, I'll move it over there whenever we get there. But it's a bong that looks like a pistol. And if you, well, that's a weird way to. Oh, is that from the?
That looks like a police photo.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can make it even bigger. I don't know if you can see that.
So based on the story that we're told thus far, the gentleman who's deceased now had this in his hand.
Yes. Okay. So the cop came around. Like I said, the wife said there's a gun in the house. So now on high alert. The son says something, so I'm sure the cop was looking at the son. The husband comes around the corner, so that gets the cop's attention. I'm sure he looks at him, and he sees this in his hand. Mm-hmm. If you watch the body cam footage, he doesn't give him much time. He says, drop the gun. Maybe 2 seconds later, he does open fire on him. But that guy, he actually puts his hand out with that thing. Like, you can't, yes, you want to give somebody time to react to your commands before, say, you open fire and could possibly harm or kill them. Mm-hmm. But when a gun, or what absolutely looks like a gun, is pointed at you, if you pointed if it was like not us, us, but like if you pointed a gun at me, I'm not going to give you time to fire.
That's a threat. Yeah,
so a lot of people are complaining that the cop says put it down, and like within a second he opens fire on the guy. But it looked. I'm not a victim blamer by any means. Yeah. Like I don't like to do that. I don't, anything. Why do you have a bong that looks like a gun?
Yeah. And why are you holding it?
Why do you have a bong in the first place?
Well, that's whatever. I'm not necessarily against marijuana or anything like that, but
I'm not. So it's
yeah, but when that happens, that cop has no choice. Like really has no choice.
Yeah. So like questions for me that arise are, did the son and the father both know the cops had been called? If they did, or if they knew that the cops were there, obviously, why would you have that thing in your hand anyway? So why would you have it in your hand anyway?
That is a good point. Yeah. So, and some people did bring up the point that he did not say who he was. Like he did not say, EPD, everybody put up your hand or anything like that. But he did pull up. The wife sees him. The wife talks to him for a little bit.
Opens the door.
It opens the. I think that there was a daughter or something. There was another female there that opened the door, or she was starting to try to leave. I'm not entirely sure how that was going. But, so I don't know that it was on his mind to necessarily say, as he was entering, because the wife had already given permission to go in, and like it wasn't a thing. Other people are complaining that he didn't call everybody out with their hands up. Well, he really had no reason to do that up until the point where it all went to hell. But I don't.
My other position possible, and I'm not an officer. I don't know standard procedure protocol, but like I don't understand if there was a gun in the house, why you wouldn't ask everyone to come out.
Well, he didn't know until he was getting in the house, but yes, he could have changed direction.
I believe I did a little bit of research. I think the standard protocol is the best way to handle it is to let people come out, not to go charging into
he just walked
a volatile situation.
He wasn't charging. He just moseyed in and talking.
Okay, yeah. But you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm not trying to. The investigation needs to get done. I'm not the expert, but I have questions about things. That's what investigations are for.
Absolutely.
So hopefully they, I know there's going to be friction. There's going to be, hopefully this doesn't turn into some.
I don't care if they're racist, either one, by the way.
No, I don't.
The situation itself dictated what happened.
Yeah.
To me.
It's a terrible situation.
Absolutely. And that's what I told my wife. When my wife and I, when it first came out and when we first looked at the body cam footage, she was trying to be like, I don't know if they can, make the cop look good on this one. I watched and I said, honey, it is a tragedy. I don't want anybody to die for any reason if you can keep from it. That cop felt like his life was in danger. And some people are like, but it wasn't a gun. He didn't know that. That looks like a gun. So he wants to go home to his family just like anybody else does. It was a tragedy. I don't think that anybody had it coming or anything like that. I feel like it was a tragedy that probably could have been avoidable on both sides. But I don't think that anything was there was any malice there. I don't believe that the cop wanted to just go in and start shooting people. That wasn't on his mind. Nobody wants to. I don't think anybody really wants to do that. And so I just think it's a bad tragedy, but it is causing a lot of people to lose their minds.
Yeah,
a lot of keyboard warriors.
Yeah, there's a lot of social media stuff, and it, again, driving division, driving narratives, and I think we all, again, it wasn't my house, and I've done research. I'm not going to get into showing any of that right now, but I mean, there are a lot of people killed in domestic situations, and I don't. Based on what I remember, I don't believe those are skewed racially heavier in one direction or the other. I think would it really made a difference if it was a black officer that walked through the door in the same situation? I mean, those are the questions you always have to pose, and then the whole thing about defunding the police. Then or they're wanting to put like CPS people in these middle of these situations. There's people that are calling for that, and I don't know. There's just a lot. I'm very upset about the whole thing.
Well, so that happened. How long was that? 2 days ago? It wasn't yesterday. It was the day before, right?
The actual incident.
Yeah, I think it was 2 days ago.
Was it? Okay.
What happened yesterday? There was a shooting. There was a killing. There was a shooting and killing last night.
Yeah.
Not cop related. It was, but it was. I mean, it happens so much.
5:30 this morning is what I heard.
Oh, was it this morning? I thought it was last night. But whichever. But that was a 17-year-old that died, I believe, from that, and then a couple other people were also injured. There were also shots. There were multiple people that were shot. I don't know that it was gang related. I'm not saying that it was. I don't even know the race of anybody in the situation or anything like that. I haven't really done a lot of research. But my point is that if a cop, it's very likely that a police officer could get shot at. And so when you see a black thing that looks, that looks just like a pistol to me.
Yeah. You can't tell from across the room if it's a pistol or not.
So he was, once again, a tragedy. I'm not saying one way or the other, but I do think it was a tragedy.
The most simple way to avoid this particular thing happening the way it did was if the officer asked everyone to come out.
Then people are going to start complaining that every single time a cop comes to your house, he's going to make you leave the property, or not leave the property, but come out of the house.
Well, and they won't. And then that can escalate things because I don't think they can legally have you make you come out of the house, can they?
I don't believe so. I know you probably know somebody who you could probably ask.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but
I think there's a whole castle thing. I don't believe that. I mean, maybe they can. I honestly don't know, but. Regardless, there's going to be people complaining about that, and that's going to really, I think, change up some of the protocol anyway. If you make every single call be that, then it becomes probably a lengthier thing than it needs to, because you are probably going to get people that are going to push back on that. And I don't know the answer. I don't want it to sound like I know the answer. I don't know. Maybe he should have said. Maybe he should have said, hey, this is Officer Blah from EPD. I'm coming in, or something to that effect. Maybe I don't know, but
well, I mean, again, I think we have a very good chief of police who happens to be a black man. I think he's very well respected in his job, and that probably helps us a little bit in this particular instance, because I would think that his investigation and his final say of how whatever happened and whatever part he plays in that, would at least give, the black community some solace that, we have a black mayor and we have a black chief of police. So, hopefully that doesn't cause, a boomerang going in the other direction. But I mean, I'm getting ready to interview the sheriff of a county here, I think next week. And one of the biggest problems that they have right now is recruiting.
Well, that's what part of what I was going to say was
stuff like this doesn't help that.
I see less of it being a black and white issue. Like in this specific instance, I know we kind of brought race up into this. I see less black versus white and more blue versus black. I've seen more people complain about cops and how this was happened versus it being I don't know that I've actually seen it say a white cop, right? I don't know if that's necessarily
by the number. I've seen it, but I'm also trying to avoid going out and looking at it because it's going to be out there, and I just I try not to engage with that. I like getting all the facts in front of me first.
Yeah.
And it's hard to have facts when it's an emotional situation, and
the investigation needs to get completed, just like you said.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of that they'll release to the public, but
well, I mean, usually they make a statement, and and if the officer is Probably, I think, might be standard protocol. He's probably
on leave
put on
right
leave.
now. Yeah,
put
he's
on
probably
leave.
on leave right now.
Probably, probably paid.
Definitely on leave.
Most certainly paid leave. And if something, because the last chief, we had several issues with cops being charged with things, and my wife actually was an attorney for one of the officers, and to me, it gave the chief a little bit of a black eye. And I like the guy, and I really, really like him actually, and he's a cool dude. And but this is just slippery slopes. I mean, these things are charged anyway. And again, so the big concern for me is we've got all this stuff going on around us anyway, and people are very on edge and anxious, and it's. I mean, man, I don't want to call it a powder keg because I hope it's not.
It kind of feels like one. Okay, just real quick. Just last night, for instance. Last night, my wife and I, we were all just kind of sitting on the couch. We were watching television. Guy pulls up in our driveway. Our camera picks it, or one of our cameras pick it up. He walks around towards our front door. Our front door camera picks it up. And then he doubles back and goes across. And my wife starts freaking out. And she said, somebody's coming to this, I don't, and I said, well, how much precaution do I need to go get my pistol? And then he got in his car and started to leave. And I was like, what in the world? And we reviewed it a little more. And it just looked like some dude delivering food who had the wrong house. And it was our neighbor. And he walked across. Oh, sorry. He walked to our door, saw our house number, and then went to our neighbor on the other side and actually delivered the food there, got in his car and left.
Yeah.
But everybody's on such kind of high alert, like you said, that it becomes, and it was more my wife. I wasn't necessarily really
but when
she grab my gun.
When she gets on alert, then that's going to get you on alert.
Yeah, it kind of did. I would have probably not even, I didn't even really care. I mean, people use our driveway to turn around all the time there on Buena Vista, but she was like, kind of, hey, there's this guy, and hey, he's coming to, I don't know what's going on. He's not on Amazon or anything, and it was just some guy delivering food just in the wrong driveway.
The same thing happened to me this afternoon. I got home, and I went to the mailbox, see if we had any mail, and we didn't. And I saw this guy walking back from my front door, and he had a white truck across there. It was not a van. It didn't have any marks on it. It was just, like a Ford.
Just a pickup?
Pickup 150.
Yeah.
And I said immediately, did you drop something off? And he said, yeah, it's up there, sir. And it was my new glasses.
So he was working for Amazon, and and then marked Amazon.
Well, so you can actually pick up. You can be a driver for Amazon. So if they've got extra stuff that their drivers can't make or don't have the time, or I don't exactly know the ins and outs.
Well, this time of the year, I imagine they're
a guy I worked with. He did it just to make a little extra money on the side. But you can actually go to the distribution center and like. They have a division that does this, but you can just in your regular car go pick some stuff up, and it becomes your deal to deliver it. You deliver it, and then you get a little money from Amazon.
Well, I saw the truck sitting there, and I drove by, parked in my own driveway, and walked back to the mailbox, and I saw this guy coming back from my front door, and I said, "Did you just leave something there?" And if he'd have said no, I would have tackled him.
Well, now, why would you have tackled him, though? Maybe he knocked on the door. Well, he could have been wanting to sell you gutters.
I already got good gutters.
Well, but he doesn't know that. I'm just saying, now, why would you tackle a guy? That's a little extra.
He wants to show off his new physique, man.
I guess.
He's getting ready to kick somebody's butt.
Like, if he's trying to kick your door in, I could see that, but...
Well, no.
Anyway.
Well, there were dogs inside, and they were raising Cain. So,
mine does the same.
Yeah.
So part of
high alert powder keg. That's where we were.
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt you.
Well, and so what the clip I'm about to share probably doesn't help the powder keg situation. This dude's an explosive dude anyway. He's got a reputation about him.
Is that me?
Yeah, but yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
but so here's the thing. It's just like anyone else that. As I said, like the Candace Owens thing and the people who were trying to cancel and like, you can't listen to them. They're anti whatever. And, to me, and I was going to queue up some of the clips that just basically say, you have to talk, sunlight is the best disinfectant. You have to give people the opportunity to say the things and then defend their speech. I mean, the Nick Fuentes and and Tucker Carlson conversation is that happening. Nick's been got a huge reach, probably more than most any other podcaster that people don't really know. I mean, if he's a younger kid, so he's got the ears of a younger generation who are like my son, who are frustrated with everything that's going on around them. And to be frank, I mean, I've been very concerned. Me and Doc and you now, Travis, have talked about the institutional failures from top to bottom and colleges and medical schools and you name it. And we're questioning everything, and we're frustrated that things aren't happening the way we think they should. And there's a lot of people that aren't like us and calm most of the time. Like there are people that are way pushed over the edge and just waiting for something to happen. And that's, to me, where, like, if I can't listen to Steve Bannon and just say he's a super violent guy, and so we isolate him, put him in a corner, that does nothing but raise the temperature.
Yeah.
And the people that would want to be looking out for him, or he himself, if he was a violent guy. Anyway, let's listen to this clip. Hopefully it makes sense with the lead in that I just did on it.
About war a lot. If you really think there is a risk of civil war and the situation is as bad as you are saying, don't you have a responsibility as someone who sees this and who's a student of history and has seen what has happened in history to calm things down?
Not to calm things down at all, to warn people. Do you think if we calm things down, they're going to stop? What planet are you living on? This is my problem with this whole concept of liberal debate. We're in a revolutionary time, both technologically, geopolitically, right? Financially. We must go to the ramparts. Because if you're just passive and docile and just flick the channel and watch the National Football League and go to Taylor Swift concerts, it's over. This is the fourth turning. The strength of the populist nationalist MAGA movement in this country is we're anti-fragile. We're resilient. You can give us your best shot. You can put us in prison. You can take our credit cards away. You can debank us. You can deplatform us. You can have all the tech stuff that happen. We can't be beaten if we don't quit. And if that takes hot rhetoric, you ain't seen nothing yet, because we're now getting into the middle of this fight, and we're never gonna kowtow to these people. We're never gonna get on our knees to these people. We're never gonna apologize. We're never gonna say we're sorry. All we care about is victory begets victory begets victory, and we know that we're ascendant and they're in decline. We, as a populist nationalist movement, as a MAGA movement, we need to do like the redistricting fights. We need to get. This is why I was down in Texas. We need to get the House in a.
I don't know what's going on. Our signal must be really slow, or something's going on with the internet. That's the second time it's happened. Anyway, so obviously and we'll give it a minute to load here. I might get to the end of it.
Try it again, yeah. I'd like to see the end of that, but he's definitely inciting some.
Mm-hmm. Well, so here's the problem though, Travis, and where I would side with him. I mean, I can hear what he's saying and hear the rhetoric, and that causes me concern. At the end of the day, though, I also have great concern for a lot of the things that I know aren't really getting uncovered, and we're not really talking about the things that need to be talked about at a high level. So people are just basically, he said Taylor Swift's, concerts and NFL. We're distracted. Mm-hmm. We're divided. We're rather than getting engaged and having conversations, we're just flipping through our phones and, whatever we're doing on our phones individually. And that's the dangerous thing, because these people that the billionaires, as what Chase Hughes says, that's funding all the division and doing all these things, they still are operating a plan. Like, we are still going towards a cliff. Mm-hmm. Financially, civil from a civil conversation, you got people leading institutions that are canceling others. I mean, the whole college campus thing that we've talked about multiple times, and what happened with my wife, and it's crazy. So you have to have some people that are out there pushing people to stay awake, I think. And I don't agree with his take on it all the time, but let's see if we can get it finished here.
Permanently defendable by the MAGA movement, right? So it's a blocking mechanism. And take that, like I said, you move a maximalist strategy with a sense of urgency, and you seize the institutions. And that's what we're doing
But
right
Steve,
now.
I don't see how that is a recipe for diffusing this crisis. I think that what happens is when people feel shut out of power and interest groups cannot get representation and cannot get an input into the way that policy is made, that's precisely when you end up with civil war.
I disagree. I think you'll see, because I think the mechanism will be that people in the Democratic Party will adjust and change, say, hey, we actually have to start winning elections, and we have to have a message that can resonate with many Americans, that we can start getting back control of the House of Representatives, we can take the Senate, and most importantly, we can take the presidency. I think you'll see I think that you'll force the Civil War to be inside of those guys, and they'll say, these radicals are saying violence, and we have to seize the institutions, seize them, and then purge them. We seize the institution, purge them, and that's why you've got guys, it's not the Doge crap. This is serious people like Russ Vought and others that have spent years thinking this whole plan through. We must strike, and we must strike now.
I don't know if one of you have a comment there.
I thought I was right wing.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
Well, okay. So looking at it again, just from the brass tacks of it, I am very frustrated that the FBI and DOJ has basically not done anything about fixing any of the stuff that has occurred.
Yeah.
Why does that happen? You got somebody I did have respect for. I'm not saying I don't have this respect for him now, Dan Bongino, and I don't know really anything about Kash Patel except for what we learned when he was trying to get the position. I do know that Bongino has spent many years and got a huge following, made a shit ton of money on a podcast talking about all the things he would do if he got in and he was a part of the. And so what I've come to understand and what the seizing the institution part is, apparently however many thousands and thousands of people work for the DOJ and FBI and CIA, the talking heads, the leadership is basically just a very small tip of a very large iceberg that goes way down into the ocean, way bigger than Titanic. And so the non-purging, where people get afraid and where I think we're sold the fear, they're afraid because we're sold that you can't disrupt, you can't get rid of the CIA, you can't get rid of the FBI. And I'm not saying that's what we do, but if you've got foundational rot and people that are working, how does a president of the United States get shot and the whole Thomas Crooks thing kind of just goes away and gets swept under the rug? How does that happen? I mean, if it would have been a Democrat, if it would have been Obama that would have been shot at, we would have still been hearing about what we should be doing different about
every day.
And so that's the institutional part that where I would agree with Bannon. Do I agree with his rhetoric? No, but I'm going to listen to what he has to say because I agree with some of it. I don't agree with all of it. I don't know. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see a little bit of it, but I definitely I agree with some. That clip there specifically just felt like some guy at a bar who keeps walking closer and closer to your face until you swing. Like, I just felt like he was really pushing the other side.
They put him in jail. There was lawfare against him. He spent time in.
But the people in this room? The people in this room did that to him?
No, they're journalists. No,
I know.
He's just basically.
But he's just baiting it. Like that was what I didn't like about that specific situation. And I don't know anything about this man. I don't know. I'll have to do a little research on him now, I guess, to see what's going on.
He's got a podcast. I think.
I know him pretty well, and he got put in jail.
He's a more fiery Rush Limbaugh. I mean, he's way
past that.
Yeah,
way beyond me.
So, but I do understand part of that, and I understand. I felt. I think it was the last podcast, and I don't know if you were able to publish that podcast or not because of the technical difficulties we were having, which I fixed. It all worked.
No,
today.
I published it.
Did you post the whole thing? I didn't know if you took it down or not.
No, I had several people reach out and say this is what happened. But what I wanted to do, because it was with my son, is I took a bunch of clips that didn't have the clips that we were sharing,
right, sure,
and shared those as reels. And so, and the people that reached out were doing so like, oh man, that's too bad. Now I got to go listen to that clip. I want to listen to that clip that you're listening to.
Yeah.
But it's kind of neat.
So, but in that, I think the society started to deteriorate when we were trying to make everybody happy versus trying to have a little more mental health discussion over some of the things that are happening versus trying to make everyone happy. I'm trying to have a little more couth than I did on that episode. But ultimately, I mean, when you try to act like that you can be a cat or that you're identifying as some type of animal or something, that's more of a mental health issue. I mean, I'm sorry if I might get some shade for that, but I think when we tried to cater to everybody, though, well, for instance, just recently, I don't know, a few days ago, there was a man who won a like an off-road bike race of some sort. It was a women's race, and it was a guy who said he was a woman. Won by like 6 minutes, like just blew everybody out of the water. And if you watch, there's a clip, I could send it to you. Nobody claps. Nobody even acknowledges that he crosses the finish line. And then when that first woman crossed the finish line, everybody cheers for her because that was the real winner.
So I think that's what Bannon's trying to get at.
Right. Like that's what I'm trying to agree with him. That we're trying to
self-policing is one of the things that I use. Like the parties need to rein it in, like, and when it gets too far left or too far right, you got to rein it in.
And that's where I was trying. I do agree with that portion of what I think he's getting at is that there are, we do need change, and I feel like being controlled by a complete Democratic Party system or whatever, the House, everybody, it definitely wasn't working, and us being more Republican probably right now than Democrat, we're probably a little biased because we feel like, Republicans could probably run things a little better or some changes.
Well, and some Democrats do run all the institutions for all intents and purposes. And when I say Democrat, it's more of a bureaucrat and a uniparty person. They don't, the party really is irrelevant. They just want bigger, more power, more federal workers, more whatever. They just want bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
And thankfully we've started cutting that down.
Yeah.
And got rid of a lot of oh my God, my brain just took a dump. Not affirmative action, but DEI.
Yeah.
Got started kind of bringing that reining that in because that was getting out of control a little bit.
You're going to maybe pull in a clip that I wasn't planning on. Keep going. I got a clip that was kind of a perfect. I had it in the extras that I wasn't really going to hit on today. I was getting ready to show a Fauci one that pinned him in the vaccine thing, going back to AIDS. But
we can do that if you want to.
Well, no, yeah, we can do both. But let me get to this. I feel like it was actually a really good setup, what you just did there. And I guess what I say about what he did,
just how he was delivering it, I guess was more he rubbed me wrong with how he was, his speech, his very aggressive. He was very aggressive, and I don't think anybody needs to be that aggressive to try to get a change to occur to prove a point necessarily.
Well, and I guess just in his defense, because he's not here to defend himself, what I would say is he did chill. He pulled things back,
and we don't know what the journalist said to him right before either.
Yeah, it's fair. Just a clip, and he did pull back from what he said, and he said, "We all want the Democrats to self-police, so they have a message that more people want to vote for."
Yeah, he eventually did.
He was calling for, we need the balance of both, of the side, and that's what I think he didn't think that we are getting.
Yeah, towards the end there, you're right. So I'm with you in the sense that I agree with some of what he was saying or some of what he was at least trying to convey, but I don't necessarily support everything that he says or necessarily how he says it, I guess. But
I'm going to find this thing.
I'm waiting.
It's taking me a minute, but here's how I can cue it up. We had this conversation going on. We talked about it on the podcast, and there's several local college professors who were basically celebrating Charlie Kirk's passing and/or supporting the people that were on the basis of free speech. They were basically protecting them, throwing shade for people that were, saying really, really horrible things, not just about Charlie Kirk, but about other people. And, same kind of stuff that they do with the Trump rhetoric. And even after he gets shot, they're not self-policing. They're just not doing what they need to do to rein people in. They're making it worse. It's like they enjoy it a little bit. And so this clip basically is here it is. Okay. I found it. So this clip is of a guy, and at the headline, I'll try to give it a minute to cue because I'm having some difficulty with speed.
You'll have to hit play then pause.
Yeah.
To get it to buffer.
The article headline, unfortunately from Fox News. It says University of Minnesota website warns of whiteness pandemic and urges white parents to re-educate. So this is a University of Minnesota child development program providing resources to halt the whiteness pandemic. And so this professor here is from the left coast, University of Washington, which is a lot of my wife's family went to University of Washington, Huskies. And he explains what's going on, and I found it really interesting. And it kind of goes back to the conversation that we had. Hopefully it plays here. Sorry, I should have reversed
So this
that
is
one.
something that the faculty voted in a few years ago, that for new hires, we require a diversity statement. In the Allen School, where I teach computer science, we basically have 3 different main measures. There's their research, their teaching, and DEI, their diversity statement. So, and these rubrics say things like, they used to say you have to agree with the equity agenda, with the DEI movement. Now you have to say that you have deep knowledge of the DEI in order to get a high rating on all of this. The funny thing is, I'm convinced I would not be hired if I applied today. There's just no way, even though I've won the Distinguished Teaching Award here at the university. So, it's they want you. Well, I'll give you an example of something they'll ask you. What have you done specifically for black students in your teaching? And I would say, I don't do anything specifically for black students. I have done a lot to try to make sure that struggling students have the resources that they need to succeed. But I don't think about black students in particular and what they need. I just do this for all students. That's not an acceptable answer. I'm supposed to say what I've done specifically for black students. Otherwise, I'm not working towards equity. I've known faculty, very talented faculty, who left because of this kind of pressure, and people who won't even apply. I think a lot of grad students, who might have wanted a career in teaching, are kind of saying, "Why bother? I mean, look at all of the crap that you have to deal with." You have to kind of basically make up a statement that's going to make them happy, saying the things that you're going to do. I believe in diversity and so forth. Diversity is our strength. If you don't say all the right things, you're not going to get hired. So I think a lot of people aren't even trying to have a career in education. Boy, the University of Washington, I don't see how we can change quickly. Like you could argue, I want to have a different set of faculty. They're not out there. They really aren't. I'm like the only person in an 80-person faculty who will express conservative points of view. And I'm ostracized for it. 1 out of 80, where are we going to get other faculty? So I'm actually pretty pessimistic about how things are going to go. But, obviously the Trump administration is trying to apply pressure to get the schools to move in that direction. It's having more success at other schools. It hasn't had success here.
So I think that kind of leans right into Bannon's point too. Like we know there's institutional rot. I didn't become a teacher. I didn't know why I didn't want to be a teacher once I started student teaching, and it turns out that I had a pretty good gut feeling. The gut feeling was accurate, that it was just not where I would have thrived. There's no way. I'd have probably ended up like that dude, and I don't know how he's even has a conversation about it at the University of Washington. But
he might get thrown out from what he said this evening.
Well, might have tenure.
When it was.
Yeah, he's got tenure. He's probably
I've seen people thrown out with tenure from the U of E.
But the worst part, Doc, is it's the doxing, and it's the environment that the administrators and the presidents of these institutions are basically supporting a extreme leftist professor to say it's okay to speak murder language. Yeah. I mean, you understand? Well, he's a conservative. He had it coming because, he believes in the Second Amendment, or he had it coming because he voted for Trump. They say all these things, and all it is just it's
my
feeding the machine.
My biggest pet peeve: hypocrisy.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
And if it goes the other way, it has a different value.
Oh yeah.
No matter which way. I mean, there's a lot of hypocrites on both sides.
Oh, for sure.
But those exact same people, if it was
Fox News has a lot of hypocrisy.
I can't think of who's somebody that the left just supports out of just crazily. Greta Thunberg or something. I don't know. Like
AOC.
Yeah, there you go. If and I am not threatening, so don't put me on any kind of list or anything. But if what happened to Charlie Kirk happened to her, and then you had a bunch of right-leaning people saying the things that those left-leaning people were saying about Charlie Kirk, would it be as acceptable? No, it wouldn't.
No, they would start burning things.
Right, exactly.
Well, there are no. I mean, I had a clip probably queued up for this, but I know I watched a couple of different ones that basically have said there hasn't been any real extreme right-wing violence of people getting harmed from right-wing people.
Right.
And there's a couple examples of people that are on the left that were harmed. There's some that were shot several years ago. There are examples, but not nearly the number. I mean, it's just way out of.
Sorry,
go ahead. No,
I saw some. It was a guy who was kind of talking about Second Amendment a little bit, and he goes, that the right leaning people will say that they're going to use a gun for hunting or use it for target shooting or whatever, and it's because that's what they use it for. When you get somebody leaning left saying that's a weapon of murder and mass casualty, it's because that's what they use it for. Mm-hmm. It's not funny at all. I don't know why. But I think he almost hit the nail on the head on that one. But
well, I mean, and so it goes across all these different topics that we're talking about too. And we haven't talked about climate for a while. And from what I understand, the climate change narrative that we've had shoved down our throat, part of the reason why our energy bills are so stinking high is because we were sold a Green New Deal policy, and people just have really bad information. They share the same talking points all the time, and now what I understand is AI is kind of destroying the climate change.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at history, they're
looking at all the data and really stacking things up in a way, and you don't have like a media somebody able to say something. It's like, no, you can get fact checked at a level that was you couldn't fact check at that level like you can now with Glock.
Yeah. The whole thing about climate change, I've been jumping on that for how long have we been doing podcasts?
Over a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. I've been talking the whole thing. In the 11th century, the Vikings in Greenland were putting out row crops and raising animals. And now it's covered up with ice up there. You can't do that.
Yeah, I saw, I can't think of the name of the guy, but he's reading an article, and he reads about how the detriment of how in just a few years Florida will be underwater. I can't remember the whole thing, but it was and after it was all said and done, he kind of it was a picture of the article, and he zooms out, and you can finally see the date, and it was like 1954 or something. Like it was way it was decades ago, and it's always been that circular. I don't know why. I guess it's a financial thing. It's a money thing. I guess you follow the money sort of deal. Mm-hmm. But it seems like every 5 to 10 years, it's going to be the end of the world next year if we don't just change absolutely everything.
Polar bears are going to go extinct. Well, there are twice as many as there were 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, we're working towards some good things are happening because of the concern as far as habitat, or you were talking about animals and whatnot, and how we're trying to help save a lot of that. But as far as the world ending because of some type of climate change, it's just not a thing. It's just not happening right now. I mean,
no, we're definitely more in danger with solar flares and the magnetic field being thin.
Oh, and it is. Did you when like a week ago the Northern Lights were down here?
Yeah, super bright.
And my wife was like, "Why? No, you could never. You'd have to go up to like Alaska, like a trip to go see the Northern Lights." Or down. I'm like, "Well, the magnetic poles are changing. Like they're shifting.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot of what's happening right now." And she goes, "What are you talking? Like, what does that mean?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "It's a bad deal if it
no
does
good.
the flip." Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of where I think if we're not going headlong into portable nuclear we have to, because I mean that's the only way that we'll be able to salvage energy. I mean, if we get a flare, an EMP, and it destroys electrical grids, I mean, or just electrical grids go down, it's not good.
Yep.
Society goes to pot pretty dang quick.
I've thought about Faradaying my house, but I haven't.
Well, the problem is everything getting to your house. I mean, you'd have to have your own energy source.
Yeah, but if you don't have your own, I'm sorry, Doc, what were you gonna say?
That's pretty expensive to Faraday anything.
Yeah.
I've thought about Faradaying at least the room that has all my servers and everything. But
yeah.
But you're right as far as energy goes. But I mean, I think even if we have some type of issue where our energy gets, I think eventually we can get energy again. But if all the chips are fried and everything, that I think that's an even harder bounce back than trying to get energy.
Well, it's okay. So you're going from skipping to what we're going to get energy back. But can you imagine the grid being like down? Just for like 3 days.
That's what I was going to say. Even if it was down for like half a week, the whole world goes to hell.
I mean, everything goes crazy.
In April, my house had no power whatsoever for 36 hours. And we had 3 inches of water in the basement, and we couldn't get rid of it. And it was terrible.
But you knew everything was going to come back.
Yeah,
you knew that it was a problem that was isolated to your house.
I didn't know when.
Yeah,
But do you remember that ice storm we had? Gosh,
yeah, we lived in. We were in North Carolina.
2010, maybe, or
well,
2011 or something like that.
Yeah, it was 2010.
It was 2010 because we moved back in 20. We were in Tell City. We moved to Tell City in 2000. Wait a minute. The Obama wave election. Yeah, we moved out of Tell City in 2010, and it was like 2008 or something was the ice storm.
Yeah,
because we were in North Carolina.
I was still there. I was still here.
I don't. I
didn't realize that. But anyway, regardless, my point is that I mean that knocked out most of the town.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, my house at the time, we actually had a tree fall on the roof and do some major damage, but that house didn't have power for like 10 days. I ended up packing up and I went to my mom's. I went back to Tell City for a little while and stayed there. And but everything didn't go to shit then because, like you said, like we kind of knew that it was going to come back. It was going to get repaired. I mean, it did. There was some damage done. There were things that due to this power outage there was money lost. But I think we all kind of knew it was going to eventually come back. What you're getting at is like if the entire just electricity's got like 2009. Okay.
Yeah.
Then everybody trying to then it almost unfortunately becomes survival of the fittest, and that's why people like you and I have a lot of ammunition in the gun cabinet.
Me too.
Well, the 3 of us. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know, but I see what you're saying. Like, if you know that it's coming back, there's not really necessarily going to be everybody trying to kick down everybody else's door to try to find food. But if the whole world, or even if just a continent, like if we've got 3 main hubs in the United States, and even if just one of those goes down, it's going to be pretty bad. 2 of those goes down, most of the U.S. is without power.
Yeah.
And then it does become the Wild West again, I think.
So we haven't talked about Bitcoin in a while, and we've had some pretty volatile times. I was buying quite a bit at the peak and maximum, and I'm wearing a shirt today. It's kind of an inside joke if you're in Bitcoin. It's buy and hold, but they call it hodl, and so it's actually a good time to buy Bitcoin because it's cheaper, and there's all kinds of speculation about why it's doing what it's doing.
Yeah, but there was a whale at about 11 a.m. this morning that just bought.
Yeah.
Because then after that, it kind of stayed level. But from like 10,
it's back up over
45 to 11 o'clock, it went from 88 to like 90,000.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of stayed. It's gained a little bit more. It's up to 90. It's almost to 91,000.
Well, they said there's a bunch of indicators. I'm listening to a bunch of different people on what they think. They think it's some kind of a big whale, institutional money, because they said
trying to
Well, no, they think it's like the Jamie Dimons and BlackRock trying to make Bitcoin seem more unstable.
Yeah.
So it's more of an attack so they can keep the money printers going.
It's like a psyop in Bitcoin almost.
It definitely is. Yeah. They're trying to put a smoke screen up. I got a bunch of different clips that we could share. I don't know how many of our audience really.
You're right about the interweb. I can't get it on my phone at all.
Oh, we're having some.
Yeah.
Having some instability.
And that's why I don't really go live. I usually just pre-record because the internet can be spotty. Although we're hardwired, so whatever. But
yeah.
So at the end of the day, what I do want to say about Bitcoin and why we've come to Bitcoin, it's not because I'm making money selling any Bitcoin products. It's not because I'm not asking anyone to do anything that they haven't done plenty of research to do. I determined in my own accord that it's probably one of the best ways that we have at fighting tyranny. And the only reason I say that is because basically they're using the money printers. And the reason why we have unlimited war is because they're able to just print money and put it into circulation and pay for these things. Because, going back to World War I, we had war because people, paid for it. And then that went away. And then the money printers basically make it where there's nobody that's held accountable. And so I'm going to continue bringing it up because I do believe it's a very sound strategy to fight back against tyranny. And I hope that more and more people will consider it.
Well, we kind of put money where our mouth was.
Yeah.
We're running our own nodes at the house. Your house, you're running one. I set one up for you, and then I'm running one at my house. I'm running a couple of miners. You're running a miner. So we are kind of, and I'm buying. I bought some when it got down to 89, and so.
Mm-hmm. Well, so apparently, we'll get a little bit into the political side of Bitcoin, based on several people that I'm hearing that basically J.P. Morgan is under attack. The Trump administration and Trump family have been really hot after J.P. Morgan, and as it turns out, coincidentally, J.P. Morgan enabled Epstein and paid Ghislaine Maxwell millions and millions of dollars. And so I think there's an underlying story that always comes back to the money.
Follow the money.
Always comes back to the money. And so
you need to make sure it's just follow the money.
It is always follow the money. And there's several. Man, I want to just have another Bitcoin episode because I got so many really good clips and I don't know where to even start with it. But I think I got one I can queue up here and might just be our last little thing that we hit on today. If I can get it to work. If it doesn't work, then it's not even allowing me to pause. There we go. If it glitches or whatever, we'll just call it a night. And so I think we've hit all the topics that I want to hit on.
Sure.
We've had a good show so far.
Yeah.
You ready to go? Or are we gonna?
Let's try.
Nobody got killed.
And that was a painful watch.
Oh, wasn't it awful? or maybe it was some other political event and discussion. I can't recall, but I watched something that had both sides arguing vociferously. And I sat there and I thought to myself, you idiots are all talking about shit that doesn't matter. You're talking about, I use the analogy, you're arguing over the color of the drapes and the goddamn house is on fire. Nobody's talking about the deficits. Nobody's talking about the money. Nobody's talking about the government being out of control spending. None of that. It's just not being discussed. And then I thought to myself, and people, and you got red team hating blue team, and it's awful. It's just absolutely awful. I'm not a big fan of either team. I'm a libertarian team, but I lean red team. But
yeah, I'm probably along the same lines as you.
I lean red team, but red team ain't perfect either.
Yeah.
Trump coin. Some of the shit coinery that they've done is just ridiculous. So, but anyway, set all that aside, and I thought to myself, you're 67, 68 years old. You've seen, you've lived this sound money life. You understand all the history of it. You've got all these young people who didn't live it, didn't see it, don't know how it happened, don't know how we got here. And then I thought, well, there's some really great books out there, like Safe's book is fantastic and Lynn's book is fantastic. Jeff's book, they're all good in their own way. And I've given out those books to other people. They're a little more scholarly, a little more, I find people didn't read or didn't always dig in. And as you know, a lot of the country doesn't read. But maybe, I'm going to try and write a book that is written with enough detail to prove my point, not a lightweight book, but a heavy enough book to prove my point. But I'm going to try and write it in a way that, a really average citizen could understand. I mean, you don't have to have a degree in economics. You don't have to have gone to college. You can be a blue collar. You can be anywhere. And if you can understand logic, you could read it and go, oh, I get it. I see how they've been systematically screwing me. I see why the system is broken. I see why my grocery costs are going up.
I think he's the author of the fourth turning. I don't think this is.
Once they do understand the fundamental problem,
that's the big print.
And it's depressing. The book is in two parts. Part one, what's the problem? Part two, how do you fix it?
You might be right.
So don't stop after part one. You'll be depressed.
You will be. I mean, and some people wrote me and said, God, part one was really depressing. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But it is what it is. I mean, those events happened, right? But, okay, so what do we do about it, right? Well, first, take care of yourself. Grab your own oxygen mask before you put on other people's, right? Get Bitcoin, get gold, get sound money. Protect your own family's financial security. Second, spread the word. Let's get everybody else to do this, because I was with
the big print.
Very recently, and he said to me, Larry, if we could get everybody to do this and buy Bitcoin, their whole system would collapse overnight. And he's kind of right. But as you and I both know, things take time and years and arguably decades. But we're going in that direction. And so if you want to be a part of the solution, look, we're all here for Bitcoin number goes up. I mean, I love the fact that, I feel comfortable that my savings will not be debased because they're in Bitcoin. But we're also, I think a lot of us are also here for, this could really make the world a better place, end wars, end inequality, take the quintillionaires down, et cetera, et cetera. So that was really the purpose behind the book, was just trying to help average people and trying to explain the problem in terms that people could understand. And I've been quite satisfied. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback that it's worked in some cases. I've had some criticism too, but the doomer stuff, but it is what it is. And so, I'm not writing a second one, it's, I kind of.
So the full disclosure, I did order the book, Travis, to answer your question.
Oh, just now?
Just now.
Nice.
Secondly,
I want to read it after you're done.
I really appreciated this. I had like 3 clips or 4 clips from this. I appreciated it so much that he's now on my list of people I want to get on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I love, I'm always trying to go through and understand Bitcoin well enough that I can explain it to my 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Or my 80-year-old dad. I mean, like, you got to be able to get it, from both levels.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, I had that reel pulled up that I was going to blast Fauci, and I think
blast him all you want.
I think I might blast. Yeah. I might blast him one more time, because there's a meme that I want to laugh. It's a humorous meme that I want to end with, just to go out on a. He's eventually said so much of the stuff that he spouted was just made up. I mean, the distancing was just made up. Mm-hmm.
Masks didn't work. Anyway,
so this is Angel Network clip, and
all right.
I want to get Angel.
I like Angel.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been.
I've got some Angel stuff too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that.
Probably in their heart of hearts that they were doing this for humanity. And sometimes when you have that belief, you can cut corners.
You can always think you're doing good, but that don't mean you are.
Scientist named Hillary Kaprowski cultured the polio vaccine in the kidney cells of chimpanzees.
So while they were doing these trials, there were other viruses that ended up crossing over into humans from these chimpanzees. But even though there was this huge risk, they end up rushing these vaccine trials with Africans, no white people, without disclosing any of the risks.
It's just devilish.
For 2 years, these scientists administer millions of doses in Kinshasa. And by the end of the study in 1959, in the same city, is the first major outbreak of HIV.
It's evil.
Oh. Federal health officials say as many as 1 million Americans may have been infected with the AIDS virus.
A mystery disease known as the gay plague.
Even without any connections to the polio vaccine and the origin of AIDS, people were enraged at Reagan and Fauci for how they were handling the pandemic. Activists like Michael Petrelis even stormed the NIH.
Anthony Fauci, I piss on you. I promise you we'll give you the data.
Preach on, brother.
There is still a conspiracy.
You are a politician. Fauci was hated by almost all people suffering with HIV. He was arrogant and condescending.
I think that you may be naive in understanding how you can get things done in Washington.
Fauci was already under fire for failed treatments like AZT.
Abandoned cancer chemotherapy treatments that were taken off the shelf.
Then in the late 90s, the story comes out in Rolling Stone about the oral polio vaccine and connections to the origin of the pandemic.
Why and how? There were several mysteries that
Fauci was already on the rocks with the black community.
To tell us what to do, how to treat our bodies, and how to live a more...
Around this time, he was working on an AIDS vaccine. And a story about a vaccine tested on black people accidentally causing a pandemic that was ravaging the black community was not good PR for him or for science.
Not at all.
Over the next couple years, a series of papers come out debunking the polio theory. Fauci promotes some of that work, saying that the theory was dead. The crazy coincidence is some of those papers were written by Bob Gary, Andrew Rambo, and Eddie Holmes. The same guy is given a big ask right before the pandemic broke out.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Thank you so much
for
killing my grandmother.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I shared that one because I want to end with this meme if I can find it real fast.
Yep.
I think I put it down in the...
Well, I was big in this when it was going on, when the AIDS was starting, and I was sure that they had gotten the virus for AIDS through the polio.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So we think
I was sure
that AIDS
about
might be almost a man-made disease due to
No, it was a chimpanzee, and the whole thing that they put out, it's just the like Wuhan, same way, was that people were eating chimpanzees, and that's how they were getting AIDS, and that just simply wasn't the way. It was the oral polio vaccine.
Wow. Okay.
So to end, if you're not watching the video, if you're not watching, you're just listening. There's a meme. This guy, I forgot what show he's known for.
Well, it's Zach Galifianakis. He's known for all kinds of stuff.
There you go. So the meme basically says, so you think an industry that makes its money off sick people is going to give you a quote unquote free shot that's going to make you healthy? And then here's what he's saying.
Just the laugh.
It just keeps going. Well, the video's bad.
I was just laughing.
It just keeps it's looping him.
Oh, okay, yeah. I brought it back down. Oh.
So it's kind of dark humor, but it's funny nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for coming in the day before Thanksgiving 2025. It was a great conversation. Doc, thanks for bringing all the
no problem.
The highlights and insights of what you've...
I'm a text away.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Next week, I hope the podcast will be in order with a local sheriff. I won't mention the name yet, just in case it doesn't happen, then I'll have to...
Is it Walker? Oh, wait, he was a Texas Ranger. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, but we're gonna be talking about a lot of hot topics that are going on with law enforcement, obviously, and
I'll enjoy that.
One of the things that I want you to prepare for,
me?
Travis. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I want you to prepare for, because one of the things that we're going to be talking about is AI and tech tyranny.
Oh, with the sheriff?
Surveillance Flock. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Surveillance Flock. Okay.
Yeah. So he showed up at the 100 Guys event that we were both at, and we're politically not really aligned. I think my wife supported the other candidate.
Can I pause you for just a second? You brought up 100 Guys Who Care. I think everybody that's listening to this should check out 100guyswhocare.org or 100guyswhocareevv.org. What's the website? Do you know?
Well, you put me on the spot.
I did put you on the spot because because it's a very awesome cause. Like,
well, just do a Google search of 100 Guys Who Care.
Well, do a Google search, but it's
Twitter
just,
search.
It's a bunch of dudes.
100 the number 100
100
guys who care evv.com.
.com?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was a .org, but so .com. But it's just a bunch of dudes who bring $100 once every 3 months. You end up having $10,000. We have nonprofits that come, do a little presentation, and then we just vote who gets the money. And then thankfully there's is it First Bank? No. What's the bank that does second, third for $500? Do you recall?
There you go again. Put me on the spot.
I don't mean to. I'm sorry.
They're on.
It's not
Burkhart.
Is it First Bank?
No.
No.
Gosh darn it.
Indiana something? I don't know. Anyway, there is another. So forgive me. I'm sorry. Maybe Chad will look it up here real quick. I don't know.
I am because you're.
But it's an awesome organization. You just bring $100 every
Field in Maine. I didn't.
Field in Maine.
I didn't even have to get. It just came.
It just hit you. It just hit you. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Field in Maine. That wasn't. You know,
they've helped us out for a couple.
Yeah,
years.
but they bring $1,000 so that the second place gets $500, third place gets $500. But I mean, it's great. I mean, but I will say that if your organization has anything to do with children, you'll probably win. So bring it up.
Yeah.
So the 100 Guys Who Care. I was.
And I just joined.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, so we had a really good.
But check out the website. Yeah,
check out the website. Sign up.
Yep.
Sign up for contact, and you will receive the newsletter. You can also go to the Facebook and like the page, and we communicate about all the events that are going on. So if you are in the local Evansville area and you want to help move the needle for local nonprofits, and we have, if you're a what's the 501(c)(3)?
Yeah,
you are potentially eligible to be in the and to receive up to over $10,000 if we get more and more people there.
Yeah.
But if you really want to get involved, it's a great spot to network. It's a great spot to meet people who are, the stories that you hear from the nonprofits and the where the money goes. I mean, it's one of the things that it's a lot of work putting it on, but it's really worth it.
I'm happy to. I'm glad that I get to volunteer for it now.
Yeah.
We're working on some stuff, but I think granted one this past quarter, and it's almost like it's kind of a local Make-A-Wish. But it's really great, and it's really it's kind of it's definitely a bummer that these children have their life snuffed out a little earlier than you would hope. But at least this specific organization that won this last time gets to grant some wishes, pretty much. Get some kids. Disney. They mentioned that Disneyland is their biggest wish, is to just go do that, and they do that. They offer and they give money to go be able to buy things while they're there. And I'm getting a little deeper than I really necessarily wanted to get, but.
That's all right.
Ultimately, you brought that up, and I don't even remember where you were going with that, but it was. But the 100 Guys Who Care is an awesome event.
Well, thanks for bringing it up.
The sheriff. That's where you were.
Yeah,
going
we
with that.
saw the sheriff at the meeting. So again, get involved with your local community. Get involved in conversations. Get involved with sitting down with people, not necessarily that you align with on everything politically, but like I know me and the sheriff are going to agree on quite a few things, and we're going to probably not agree on several things, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You have to continue having civil discourse and dialogue.
I love when we used to be able to have debate and then go out for a drink right after. Now you have a debate and somebody wants to punch you in the face or something. I don't know. It's
well, that's part of what again, agree or disagree with Steve Bannon. Basically, the institutional capture that has been swallowed by an extreme portion of the left, basically. They have a cancel mob that if they don't want you talking to somebody or whatever, they basically just snuff the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not good for society. It's not good for a party. Not good for people. It's not good for anyone except for the people that hold power and they want to continue wielding it around. But anyway, so hopefully, again, we're gonna, he is a registered Democrat. He's a democratically elected. He happens to be a friend with Dr. Roy, and runs in some. I guess you see him at different events and stuff.
Yep.
So he's a really good guy, and I'm looking forward to it greatly. Anyway, thank you all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Gobble, gobble.
Sending love to everyone, and see you next time.
Yep, absolutely. Have a good night.
Good night.